Nobody cares if I'm messing around, right?
No, they can't see you anyways. You're hidden over here. They're over here.
Oh, wait.
You're over here.
Only you can see me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Yeah. It's you and me, buddy. Hey,
Okay.
everyone on YouTube. What the Sam hell is going on tonight? I'm Dave. If you don't know who I am, I'm the guy who talks about all this weird stuff on a nightly basis here on Spaced Out Radio. Many of you may know me from special shows like Varla Ventura's Our Cryptid World and Strange Days from Butch Witkowski. Anyways, let's hang out and let's have some fun and quickly give our shout out to everybody who is here tonight. Jack Clark, way to kick things off. Hi, gorgeous Kimberly. Brett Lewis is here, everyone, which means that we could officially start the show. And Varla, he sung you a little bit of a song here. He says, Viva Las Varla. Viva, Viva Las Varla. Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyways, that's from Brett Lewis. The gorgeous and talented Steph Dickey is back. Thank you, Steph, for coming on in. We have Lee Bodge, Major Lee, who also hit us up with our first Super Chat of the night. Thank you so much, Major Lee. Super Chats are a great way to support this show. Worsley, good to have you here. Hi, Pharmacy. Thanks for coming on in. The Bombshell Bomber is back. Always love the good Bombshell Bomber. Oh, nice picture, Varla Ventura.
Yeah.
Very satanic.
Yes.
We love it.
Sacrificial fires.
Gorgeous and talented Larry is back. He got pissed off at me one day saying, how come you never tell me I'm gorgeous or talented or stunning or sexy?
Larry,
so
you are absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, Larry is gorgeous. Hello, Princess Denali, the official princess of Spaced Out Radio. Steam Train Mark in Australia, please give us a look into the future. Are we alive tomorrow? And how is tomorrow looking? Please let us know. We'd appreciate that since you're in the future. Dirty Fylth, always a pleasure to have you here, even though you don't like pancakes, which I think is kind of weird, and you are a ruthless man when it comes to Nanaimo bars. Chris Jarvis, how you doing, man? The Jim Christie is here, everyone. The Jim Christie. There he is. Who else we got? Millennium, welcome back. Roscoe, how you been doing, man? Good to have you here. Oh, yes. Where am I in my lineup here? Hold on. Okay, there I am. Rich Hilke, everyone. Rich Hilke. Troll Ronto. He's the troll from Toronto, so we call them Troll Ronto. Molotov, good to have you here. Oh, my goodness. Look who it is. From Brandon, Manitoba, the Wheat Queen, Manitoba Becky. She is looking gorgeous and stellar tonight. I could just tell. Redheaded Lisa, good to have you here, beautiful. Hi, Justin. Good to have you back. Oh, where are we? Where are we? Kristen Alberg's here, everyone. The Kristen Alberg, looking stunning and talented tonight. Go 66, good to have you here. Andrew Harbinson, thank you for coming on in. Hi, Varla Ventura.
Hi.
You got great.
Hi.
You got great. If you guys saw on camera what I'm looking at right now, you would say, Varla Ventura, you have beautiful teeth.
I think you're the first person in my life to ever tell me that I have beautiful teeth.
Look it up. Look how white and shiny those are. You must use Crest.
I just use whatever's in the bathroom.
Oh, good.
It's probably like kids' watermelon or something.
Do you remember Three Amigos? Remember when they sing together? You'll recognize it when I say this. Hi, Zoe Buttercup, with the cutest smile. Anyways, that's Zoe.
It would have been great if I had actually known that and we had started a little duet. That would have been perfect.
Cute little Zoe Buttercup. Won't you stay a while? Anyways, I'll get the lyrics to that one day.
I blew it twice.
That's okay. That's all right.
But I have nice teeth, so.
You have gorgeous teeth. Guess what I did today? I got called to the chiropractor today. Like, they had an opening, and the lady's like, you got 20 minutes to get here. I'm like, fine, I'm there. So I raced to the chiropractor, and I hurt my foot somehow. So he cracks my foot, really painful. So then I ask him point blank, hi, beautiful Jessica McCreary, welcome back. Nick Madrid, Spain, good to have you here. Thanks for our conversation earlier, Nick. Anyways, so he, maybe we'll save this one for the air. Remind me.
Okay.
All right, because I'll share this one with the audience.
Okay.
Oh, it was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. All right, we are on in 15 seconds here, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody in between. Welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. The Varla Ventura, the best-looking lady in Cryptopia, right here, right now, in 5 seconds. So let's start this thing up. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by CHIVE Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting CHIVE Charities today. You can find them on our website. She is back. The myth, the legend, Varla Ventura. She is the author of Varla Ventura's Paranormal Parlor, Ghosts, Seances, and Tales of True Hauntings. That book came out in 2018, but she is the author of numerous books that can be found at any major bookstore around North America or digitally on places like Amazon, Barnes & Noble. But check your local bookstore first, because that's pretty awesome when you can buy a book from a bookstore these days. You know what? This lady here, she's on for their third month in a row. Normally we only see her every couple of months, but we had a special appearance last month for Halloween. But Varla is here tonight to talk about all things spooky and strange, and maybe how the paranormal ties into the cryptid world. We're going to hit her up, her website, varlaventura.net, not .com, .net. Varla, welcome back to Spaced Out Radio. How are you?
Thank you. It's been seems like a long month since last we spoke.
It has. It's been like 3.5 weeks. I mean, where have you been? Where have you been?
You know, nose in a book, as usual.
You know, every now and again, we actually do get new people listening to this show. You know, one or two. You know, so for people who may not be familiar with whom you are, maybe they haven't looked at our archives yet at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. You know, you live a life that is weird, strange, and definitely awesome. You know, did you construct your life to be like this, or is this just the pattern that it fell into?
Oh, I mean, I definitely I wanted it to be that way. It probably a little bit of both, you know. It's like, of course, I've worked plenty of like totally not supernatural jobs. I've waited plenty of tables and done lots of grunt work, and so I think I got kind of lucky. But these are the kinds of topics that I'm very interested in. I love anything paranormal. I consider myself a supernaturalist, and I also love to write. So being able to write about those subjects has been a real treat.
It really has. I mean, and for you, I mean, you're all over the place. I mean, you're one of the most wanted guests out there, I think. I mean, every time I talk to you, you're doing another podcast, you're doing another radio show or YouTube channel or something like that. I mean, it really goes to show the popularity of these topics, but the fact that when that many people reach out to you, it really shows that you're doing something right.
Oh, well, thank you. I do think it speaks to the popularity of the topics, and it's always interesting to be on a show that I frequently am invited as a guest, and people will say, well, we don't usually do this type of show, but we wanted to have you on. And so I always find that really interesting, because I just assume, you know, everyone exists in this like weird midnight world that we hang out in, right? So you forget sometimes that, you know, people like to talk about other things.
you know, but
Not people like us,
no,
but
no.
people.
You attach yourself to a realm that is weird and strange. That is one of the fun things that you have got to do. And for me, I've been fortunate. The majority of my adult life, I've been able to do things that I want. I wanted to be involved in sports somehow. I became a sports reporter. And even though the pay absolutely was degrading, and horrific, I loved my job. I love my job, what I do now with this radio show here, because my own experiences led to me to my own curiosity, which led me to getting back into radio and doing this. So if you're able to do something that you love, that's hard to do in today's lifestyle, because there is so much pressure on finances. There is so much pressure on owning a home, a nice car, maybe an RV, an ATV, traveling outside of the country once a year for vacation. There's a lot of stress that society puts on you to keep up with the Joneses, but then there are the very few, such as yourself, who kind of go the polar opposite way and say, yeah, no, screw it. I'm going to do what I want and make myself and my life happy.
Well, it kind of goes down to circumstance and what choices that I made along the way. I certainly am, I don't make enough off of my books to not continue doing other writing and editing projects. But again, those are things that I absolutely love. And in fact, in some ways, those can be even more fascinating because I see other people's points of view and I work on other very, interesting and unique manuscripts. And so I definitely specialize in the occult. So that is always, it's an area of expertise. So, I remember like long ago in community college, I had like a anthropology professor say, the secret is find your niche, get a unique niche and really dig in and really, fine tune that and become the person that is the go-to person. Even if it's very obscure, if you're the go-to person, you will always find someone who needs that. Whether your specialty is like, fossilized plant matter or, cryptozoology. Obviously, this isn't a facet of anthropology, but I just remember having this very influential on me anthropology teacher say that, and I thought, yeah, that's cool, and it always kind of stuck with me. Of course, I had my directionless years, but really always very, very focused on the fact that I wanted to write. That was, I'm not really good at anything else. I'm okay at other things, but it's really one of the things that I'm good at, and so that's a good reason to stick with it.
It's funny because this morning I was having a conversation with Science Bob McGuire, and he tunes in all the time. I'm not sure if you've met Science Bob yet or anything, but
you know what? I think on your dad's birthday, I think Science Bob was on at the same.
Yes.
I called in and Science Bob was on at the same
right.
time.
That's right. Okay, so Science Bob says, "Hey, what's going on with Varla Ventura?" And I said, "Well, she's coming on the show again tonight." He goes, "Are you making her a monthly guest?" I said, "No." I said, "She did a special show for us on Halloween. We're going to keep her every 2 months because we don't want her to get bored with us." He goes, "You know what? She's one of the best damn guests that you have out there." I'm like, so I'm going to tell her. So Science Bob's a huge fan of yours, and I know so many people are. Yeah, but let's get right into the monsters here because, you and I have probably done, 20, 25 different interviews over the last couple of years. And every one has been absolutely fantastic in my opinion. But then again, I'm a little biased in regards to that. So for you, when you look at all the topics that you have discussed, from mermaids to sea hags and witches and the devil to warlocks to ghosts and aliens, what is a topic that you absolutely adore that doesn't get enough play, or you're like, damn, I wish I could talk about this creature or that creature on the air?
Well, I usually try and worm the conversation toward the things that I like. but I mean, I still feel, and I said this to my publisher when I wrote the Banshees, Werewolves, and Vampire books. I still feel like Banshees don't get the awe, respect, jaw-dropping horror, all of the things that you should feel toward a banshee. I feel like banshees are not as prevalent in our mindset. If I say ghost to you, you'll have an image in your mind. If I say, vampire or fairy or leprechaun or whatever, mermaid, you'll get a certain image in your mind, but not so much with the banshee. And then just in connection with that, just some of those more obscure flip side fairy creatures that do all kinds of strange things, like reach out of the bog and snag the ankles of passerbys and pull them down and drown them. And
for people who may not know, what is a banshee?
Oh, I thought you'd never ask. So a banshee is, by definition, the word banshee comes from the Gaelic meaning banshee of the fairy mound. So ben, and then she is the fairy. And it's basically I think of it as something that sort of straddles the world between ghosts and fairies. They're very similar to what many of us think of as warning ghosts, or, sort of like death portents, usually depicted as a harmless old woman or a beautiful young woman, and can morph and shapeshift into this rather horrific creature or a semblance of itself, and lets out this horrifying scream that sort of just like, punches you in the gut and makes you understand that death is imminent and nigh. And it's usually someone that you love that will die. So it's pretty intense. And there's all kinds of wonderful stories, especially, I mean, as you know, I love to travel to Ireland, and every castle you stay in has a banshee story. Certain families inherited banshees. But I also love hearing when I talk about banshees, or if someone has read that part in the book, when people share stories that I can identify as, I would probably put that in the category of banshee. As you know, with magical creatures and cryptozoology, there's kind of some buckets, but they're very malleable. So you might have something that's sort of supernatural, sort of paranormal, that also, like you can kind of put some of those sea serpents and things into the same bucket as mermaids and other kind of selkies and kelpies and things like that. So banshees can I really like that they cross the different worlds, and they're can be seen, they can be heard, sometimes both, and they are originally thought to belong to a certain place or a certain family, but I think as time has passed, we've seen them, and I've heard a couple of stories even of what sound a lot like banshees to me, like disembodied heads floating and stuff like that, in the U.S. So,
can anybody become a banshee?
No, I don't think just anybody can become a banshee.
What does one have to do to banshee?
One has to die in childbirth, do something like be in mourning for your children, potentially have drowned your children, or simply just been kind of a wayward soul that never found rest. So it's kind of got that restless ghost. And some listeners will be familiar with the story of La Llorona, which is from Mexico, and it's kind of a similar idea. She is thought to have lost her children and is wandering looking for them. Some stories say that she's responsible for their deaths. Others say that she died in childbirth, or in some instances it's just a woman in mourning that has transformed into this supernatural creature that her grief has taken her and allowed her to transmute into this fairy kingdom and become this otherworldly creature. I have never heard of a male banshee. Never say never, things. I'm sure there are stories out there, but typically they're always these female spirits or, female like. I don't know if they're anatomically female. Just, they're
there.
disembodied heads
They're there.
that look kind of feminine. Yeah.
Have you ever done a book or a study on the superstitions of old wives' tales?
I've done a little bit of research into old wives' tales.
Some of those are incredible. Like,
yes.
The first one I ever heard was back, I think I was about 14 years old in 1988. And my mom was cleaning our house, and she was getting all freaked out because this robin kept pecking at our window. And the theory behind that one, I believe, is that if a robin or a bird pecks at your window, somebody is going to die soon. And, like, I think it was about 4 or 5 months later, my grandmother passed away, my mom's mom. And so that was really kind of interesting with that. The ghostly story behind that is my parents had one of those old, or my grandparents had one of those old wind-up clocks that my mom had taken when my grandmother was in the hospital, my grandfather was in a home. And my mom swears to this day that clock stopped when my grandmother died, and she's never rewound it.
Oh, really? She just left it? Wow.
So I don't know if that's a haunted object in my mother's house, but I know one day I'm going to get that clock.
And what will you do?
I'm not going to
rewind it.
No.
Like,
no. We won't do anything silly like that. We will definitely be looking into it and just saying, you know what, that's just a nice place to put it right there.
Well, I find those kinds of superstitions and the stories behind them very, I think that's just fascinating. And it also can kind of give you like the origin of words.
Yes.
So one of my favorite ones is I've got to read it because I'll butcher it probably from memory. But it's the origin of the word hearse, which I think is super cool. So give me just a sec here. Just go death. Okay, let's see. Almost there. I guess I'll just start saying it and I'll see if I get it right. So basically, I did a bad thing here, Dave, and I didn't mark it in my book.
That's okay. Goddess Michelle on Twitter doesn't mind because you're just on the radio. Hi, Goddess Michelle on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio.
I'm just going to try and remember it. So what it is that the word hearse comes from actually the word for, it was harrow or hortex, were two kind of similar words. And a harrow was basically a pitchfork that had more tines. So it was kind of a wide pitchfork, and it was used to, till and plant. And that it was when the Anglos came into the British Isles, and meanwhile, the Vikings are coming down from the north, and you had this kind of culture clash. So there's this thing that looks like a pitchfork, and the Anglos take it and they put it upside down in the church, and they stick candles on it to make it like or they look at it and it reminds them of a candelabra, and so they start referring to it as a harx or a harx, and that they then place, because it's candles, it's placed upon the coffin, and it's slowly driven up to the cemetery so the candles don't go out. So originally it was this candelabra. This word had kind of morphed from this pitchfork, became a candelabra, and then eventually that became anglicized even more to be the word hearse, which then became the name for the whole little cart and eventually the car that we drive. So those kinds of things are just really interesting when you and you're looking into some of those superstitions, and you see the also some very interesting word origins in there as well. So that's, yeah, I didn't even really need the book. See, there you go.
Speaking of family, I have to say this. This is how close my family is. Apparently, my nephew just got engaged to his girlfriend today, and nobody called me.
Oh, well, you were busy with the show.
Well, I was free a few hours ago. Thanks, family. Just want to say thank you to my family, and well,
for caring.
Yeah.
I'm your family now.
So
Dave.
you know what? You know what? Honestly, I think I'm like the bad boy of the family or something like that, because I can't remember the last time I was invited to a family wedding.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think it was. Hold on.
Get a little crazy on the dance floor?
Or? No. It's because I'm weird all the other times. I think the last wedding I went to a family member.
Well,
I've dodged them pretty good. Outside of my own in 2003, that's a lot of dead air.
Yeah, that's like nothing.
I honestly think it may.
No invites.
No, hold on. That was the reception I was invited to. I wasn't allowed at the wedding.
Oh, well. The wedding's the boring part.
Yeah, put it this way. My best man at my wedding to my ex-wife didn't even invite me to his wedding.
Did he invite your ex-wife?
No. No. I suck. I really suck.
Yeah. The problem might be you. I don't know.
There might be a problem there. There might be a problem there. Oh, well, hey, it saves me from having to buy a gift. Yeah, I appreciate my family. I'll just make sure that when the wedding comes along that, I'm washing my hair that day, because my hair will be definitely a little bit more important. All right. Moving on, Varla, talking about old wives' tales here. Give me another one that's been weird to you.
Oh, let's see. Oh, the opening an umbrella indoors. You know why that? People always say don't open an umbrella indoors. It's unlucky. So the reason is because the original umbrellas were basically like these spring-loaded, sharp-bladed weapons. And it was very dangerous for you to pop something like that open. And early Victorian England, you pop something like that open in the crowded lobby of the opera house, and you're gonna stab someone in the eye. So it became uncouth. It became bad etiquette, and because of that, it then became bad luck. So these days, our umbrellas are significantly safer, but it is a little annoying if someone opens one. I don't even like them outside. I'll be honest with you. I'm anti-umbrella. I'm an anti-umbrellite. I don't like
even
them.
In the rain.
I'd rather have rain than an umbrella.
Not me.
I just don't like them.
I'll tell you why.
I like parasols in the sun, but not umbrellas in the rain.
No. I'll tell you why I like a good umbrella every now and again. Okay, I like it because when my hair is done, I wear a heck of a lot of hair gel, and it rolls into my eyes. Varla, I'm going to get you to hold on right there, because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Varla Ventura is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. All things cryptid and weird with the queen of the cryptids, Varla Ventura. I got to admit, I'm a little pissed off right now.
You weren't invited to the wedding.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, it's not the wedding invite. It's just the knowledge of the.
Yeah.
Is it sister's?
It's my sister's son.
Do they live nearby?
No, they live back in my hometown.
Did they announce it on Facebook or something? Because people think
I'm updating Facebook right now. 15 minutes ago, he posts, "She said yes, can't wait to marry you. Also, happy 5-year engagement." And there's a 1-minute video of him getting down on his knee and actually proposing here. I'm actually kind of pissed off.
Because you think you should have been like texted before?
You think my sister might have the decency to fucking call me, right? I don't know. Maybe that's just a family moment.
I think a lot of people put stuff up and they just don't even think about it. They just like it's like the lazy way of announcing things. It's like, oh, here we go. We're engaged now. I mean, I haven't had that happen with any super, super close family members, but I've seen it a few times, and
oh yeah,
it's nice to get a heads up, but people just think that counts.
Oh yeah,
especially under the age of 30.
Well, my sisters and I aren't close, so doesn't surprise me.
Oh, well, if you're not close, why would you expect a text?
Because I'm the one who's always putting in the effort, right? So either way, not a big deal. Not a big deal.
Well, so should we talk about some like horrible things that happen on people's wedding days?
Did I ever tell you the story what happened on my wedding day to my ex-wife? I'm having my dance with my former mother-in-law, and she, we're dancing, and she starts her little evil giggle, and she says to me, I'm going to be your worst nightmare. And she goes, I'm going to be that mother-in-law. And I'm like, oh, no, you're all good and everything's fantastic and all this kind of stuff, right? No. She had a plan. She had a plan.
Wow. That's harsh.
Yeah.
Well, if your nephew listened to your show, he'd know you were upset with him.
No, I'm not even. You know what? It's par for the course with that side of the family. So it's par for the course. So whatever. Is what it is. When it comes to the big day, I just won't show up as per usual. I'll lose my invite.
I didn't get that. Was that an Evite?
No.
I deleted the email by mistake.
Yeah, no kidding. We have 2 minutes. So anyways, I forgot to finish my story about my nose.
Oh, yeah.
So I go to
your nose?
Yeah.
I thought it was about your feet.
No, I go to the chiropractor today. My foot is sore, so he adjusts my foot. I'm screaming in there. So I go up to him because I've been having nose problems lately, right? Like I've broken my nose a few times, and my son decided to accidentally kick me in the face while wrestling, and he cracked my nose, and I felt it crack, and I knew I rebroke it, right? So I go into my my chiropractor today. I'm like, do you reset noses? And he's like, yep. I said, let's do it. So he hopped on my nose and he does one of these things right here, and he twists, and I hear the crack, and I'm like, yes, right? And it was kind of awesome.
It didn't hurt?
Oh, no. And then he did a couple others, and then he took this gun. It's like a rapid fire thing that kind of goes like this. And he started doing that like on the side of my nose and in here. And it hurt like hell, but it felt good. And so I can actually breathe out of my nose tonight. It's fantastic.
What was it? Is it like a pressure point thing that he was doing?
No, I don't know. It's like this speed gun thing of this hard piece of plastic that kind of works like a drill, like and it's like smacking it in here, and oh yeah, I can actually breathe out of my nose tonight, which is nice, real nice.
Your nose doesn't look broken.
No, it's my septum that goes in about 5 different directions. Hold on, we're gonna get going here. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. Want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight, we are talking with Varla Ventura. VarlaVentura.net is her website. She is the queen of the cryptids in old Davies land here. She's one of our favorites, and we bring her back on right now. Varla, normally we do not ask questions until hour 2, but Major Lee, well, he's over in the United Kingdom, so it's like past 10 o'clock his time. All right? So I'm going to say, Varla, do you have any stories about the Dirg do the about the what English, man? English, it's where English came from. Anyways, he is asking about the Irish vampire.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of stories about it. I have read some different accounts of the Irish vampire. I have heard of the Irish vampire. And I do believe that that is where Bram Stoker drew so much of his concept of Dracula from. A lot of these ideas of something that can shapeshift and something that can sort of transfix and mesmerize. So some kind of similarities to other creatures that dwell in that kind of in-between realm with the ability to change. But I don't have a ton of stories about it because I think I have a book here, actually. And I've got to grab it. I have a book here that I got in Ireland, and I think it has a whole section on vampires. So I can probably drag something up out of that a little bit later if you'd like. But I do have I do remember it had a whole part about vampires in it, and specifically the Irish vampire legends. But it's kind of like right out of my reach, so I'll grab that later. Remind me, Dave, and I'll run and grab that on break because I think it's actually in my library.
I can. Lisa wants to know about owls because there's a lot of weirdness around owls. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, thoughts on owls. Well, I think that all of those nocturnal animals tend to have a lot of mythology around them because they are, of course, like us, creatures of the night. So owls have a lot of traditions with being kind of sort of solo animals. And they can be heard in the night and kind of be guardians of the forest. So we have mythology that involves sort of guardian type spirits that transform into owls. Of course, traditional uses of owl feathers for healing and for transformation. And generally, like, just, cool night creatures, I guess.
Do you think owls are a messenger for weird creatures, whether it's Bigfoot or aliens?
Oh, I have heard that theory before, and I wouldn't dismiss it. Yeah. I think also they can be sort of, their call can be, we construe it as, whatever, we think it's a signal, but they're actually like warning other creatures that we're on the path. So it's a sort of a warning call.
Okay. So why do you think owls? Why do you think these creatures kind of turn that into each other?
Because I think anything that dwells in the night, in the forest, outside of the comforts of our hearth and the daylight becomes steeped in mystery, sort of just automatically by its nature. And I think that a lot of those nocturnal creatures, and I think about vampire bats are nocturnal, things that dwell in that in-between, in that darkness. And take yourself back to a time, or, where you live, Dave, you go out somewhere where there's not a ton of light pollution, and imagine, a time when that was much more common, and that once you stepped away from the firelight, you really were open to this other realm. And I don't know about you, but I've been walking a lot lately in the dark. The sky it's dark. It's a dark, it's a dark darkness. And there's something about not being able to see and then knowing that there's these other animals out there. And so I think that they represent this sort of like dream world, or a night world, a nightscape that is the flip side of what we see during the day. I did just read, though, that there are a handful of species of owls that are not nocturnal, which I did not know until literally like yesterday. I thought all 320 something species of owls on the planet were all nocturnal, but there's a handful of them that are not. They actually hunt and exist in the day. The other thing about owls is that like their ability to hunt. I mean, we kind of think of them as these like fluffy, somewhat like, adorable birds, but really they're quite vicious, and they make a pretty intense screeching sound, and they can, descend upon their prey and snatch it up with just using like, echolocation basically, which is pretty fascinating.
That is awesome. That is awesome. You don't think they're aliens, though?
I don't think owls are aliens, no. I don't think they're aliens. I think they're animals, but I could see a connection with them being in tune with other spirits in the forest, or cryptids, or Bigfoot, and maybe giving a warning. But I don't think they're aliens. Is that a theory that owls are aliens?
Yeah. That's apparently what happened way up in Nome, Alaska. And what's his name? Mike Clellan has a book called The Messengers, which is stories about people who got abducted by aliens, but previous to that they had kept seeing owls, like 4 and 5 foot tall owls.
Well, so I would just argue that the owls could be the owls could be a messenger, or could be saying like, hey, there's this creature in the forest or whatever, or maybe they're like the lookout, but that they shapeshift into aliens, that I'm not so sure about that. Okay. I do think they're magical, though. So
well,
and they have a long association with wisdom and magic and metaphysics and alchemy, and you see that symbol of the owl going back to medieval times repeatedly with magicians and such. So yeah,
magicians and such.
Don't know about them turning into aliens, but hadn't heard that.
Well, either way.
Who am I to dismiss that?
Who
theory,
are you?
though, right?
Who are you when it comes to aliens?
I'm talking about mermaids. So
who are you? Who are you? All right.
Yeah, I'm not an alien expert, that's for sure.
You need more aliens in your life.
Do I?
Everyone does.
What if they're all actually fairies? That's my theory.
You think aliens are fairies?
Yep. I do.
Why? Okay, you got to tell me this. This is interesting. We haven't gone here before.
Okay, so now I don't see anything definitively, because we're talking about these often unseen creatures. But when I was researching my fairy book, and just to let everyone know, like this is not a book about Tinkerbell. This is a book about the real fairy kingdom, the fairy kingdom of ancient Ireland and the Celts, the underworld, the otherworld. A lot of similarities to what you see in indigenous cultures in the Americas about the transformations and the caves that you go into. And there are just a lot of stories of things like abductions, the loss of time and the disappearance of time, being completely displaced, falling asleep, being sort of like fed food and drink, and then, waking up and not remembering and not understanding what happened, but having these sort of like repressed memories. um, just other kind of things that match in with that. Now, I suppose it could be argued the reverse, that aliens are ancient, and I know that's a theory, that aliens are ancient, and then that's actually what fairy creatures are, and that is what that other realm in the fairy kingdom is. But I just found a lot of little stories that just reminded me so much of personal abduction stories that people had told me. Or, there's that story of the Hopkinsville goblins. Have you heard that story?
Uh,
In
the yeah, the Hopkinsville goblins. Yeah,
mm-hmm, yeah,
that's kind of led towards the series Hellier.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And they are very, the descriptions of them are very, very like some of these really sort of like creepy, pale, goblin-y things that dwell deep in the caves. So there's some connections there. I think it could certainly be argued either way, and I'm not going to demand that it's one way or the other, but it. I had several light bulb moments when I was reading some of these old Welsh stories and things, and thinking like, this is interesting. Now, I don't know if you could say every single like alien encounter could be equated to this, but I think there are probably a number of these types of stories that could be or once were attributed to fairy kidnapping or getting caught by the puka. So maybe it's all the same thing anyway, right? It's this other dimension that we can't quite put our fingers on. And you could really argue that it's all kind of coming from the same thing or out of the same place, and that is like the other world, the underworld, the unseen. Is it off planet? Is it in the middle of the earth? Those are the things that we debate, but we're all kind of talking about the same thing, and they fall in that supernatural umbrella. So, yeah.
Do you believe in the whole underworld fantasy, that there is an entire life of mythical and mystical creatures that are living under our ground, under our feet?
Sort of. I think that there are places where you could go into this this other world, but I think that those places, like the caves and the caverns and things like that, are really more used to transform yourself and shapeshift yourself into that other realm. So going into a really dark passage, into like a really dark blackened space, maybe there's smoke in there, maybe there's a fire going, maybe there's some kind of ritual chant or something like that. You are putting yourself basically in the belly of the earth. And so you are kind of allowing yourself to it's like a sensory deprivation kind of thing, right? You're allowing your mind to transport you to this other realm. So I think that that's what a lot of those portals are. Just as shamans do certain things to transport to another realm. You go into a sweat lodge, and you have the smoke, and you have these things that make the invisible visible and connect you to this spirit world. So I think that it's probably kind of something along those lines, that there's I don't know if it's just like a flip side, or if it's just this kind of coexisting thing that we don't see all the time. I don't think of it as one long thing that starts and begins. I think it's like a, kind of a spongy, mushy, you could stick your hand through it at times, fall into the fairy door and through the spongy tree and see what happens.
Right? That's totally exactly what I'm thinking. Totally exactly what I'm thinking. I mean, this whole underworld, I mean, you think about it. There's trolls, there's goblins, there's elves, there's gnomes, there's pixies, there's fairies. There could be centaurs down there. The giant worms that apparently eat people. Gobekli Tepe, or pardon me, Makembe Babumbo or whatever. I forget the name. Mokili Babembe. That's it. You know, dinosaurs, all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on down there. And never mind the fact that there could be aliens down there as well. Where is this place? Like, how far down is it? Do you drill down like halfway to the core and then hang a left?
Is it down or is it right in front of you? Dun, dun, dun. It could be right here, right now. We just can't see it, right? That's the thing that gets very confusing, because I think we're trying to apply like a certain linear logic to it. And it is a place that defies time and space. So linear logic doesn't hold it. So we want everything to be solid, like the desk I'm sitting at. And it's just, I think it's just not that, it's not that easy. However, I will say that especially in like the ancient Celtic mythos, it is sort of a flip side underworld where the gates are they come flooding open on certain times, like Halloween. We talked about that on Halloween, actually, about this kind of like opening where the demons and the vampires and the two-headed werewolves and all manner of like beastly creatures can come flooding out. But it also is something that can be maybe a little more tangible when you look at it from the point of view of an early society looking around and seeing some real phenomenon that they don't have any kind of explanation for. And as we have tried to explain things, we've moved further and further away from that sort of wonderment. So I don't know, but I know that there's a lot of people that can access that through dreams, through meditation, through visiting the astral plane. There's a lot of tools that people use to try and really tap in prayer. They're trying to tap into that invisible other world that is so such a part of our lives, whether we want to admit it or not. There's like constant myths and legends and cryptids around us, and we're just kind of always I think we're just trying to put things in file folders and stick them on the shelf, and they are not things that can be contained. So I don't know, that's one of the great questions of being interested in this kind of topic is what, where, what does it look like? Is it all the same for everyone? Do people see different versions of it? Are we just talking about heaven? Are we talking about hell? All of these kinds of things, really, that's all part, to me, of the supernatural and the paranormal world. I see them as part of the same discussion. But don't get me started on Catholics.
No, I won't get you started on Catholics, but we got 5 minutes to go until we get to the top of the hour here on Spaced Out Radio. Varla Ventura is our guest. And, speaking of the underworld, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on there. Does that mean because we as humans believe that Satan is in the underworld, the devil, Beelzebub, and all his pets are hanging out down there, that all of these creatures that are said to live in inner earth, whether or not they truly exist, may be that of Satan?
Well, I mean, that is the advent of Christianity, certainly topped off all of those stories with a good dose of the devil. And you will find that again and again. You see that all over North America, that things that are, probably we'll talk about some of these like water serpents and things later, were misinterpreted and misnamed by white settlers as demons, when in fact they were considered to be sacred spirits or gods, and the words were misunderstood. So you have that kind of, superimposing this specific ideal of heaven, hell, God, devil, and you use it as a blanket to try and keep people from exploring and learning more about their inner thoughts and having these transformative experiences. It's labeled hedonism, it's labeled paganism, it's labeled something for the peasants, and the learned man believes in the word of God. And you see that time and time again across the world. that change in, and that's where the devil comes from. It's really
But
pretty.
did he ever go down to Georgia looking for a soul to steal?
Yeah, with Charlie Daniels.
Okay.
But I'm also fascinated with the devil and the devil mythos, and trying to like not go over the time, but we can and should talk about Pan and the horned god, because
Well, we'll get to Pan in a second. But I'm curious, in regards to the devil and the crossroads.
yes.
Do you believe in that story?
Oh, with Robert Johnson.
With Robert Johnson and
that sold his soul and then had
the weird
this
photograph.
incredible talent. Yeah, I mean that's certainly. I mean, I believe that story to a certain extent. I believe in that sort of supernatural element of the crossroads. There's all kinds of old mythology about crossroads and seeing corpse fingers, which are just basically these like floating hands that are on fire, and will-o'-the-wisp and other kind of specters and things at the crossroads, that it was a particular place that you could do high magic, or you could make contact with some other kind of entity. At some point it went from demons to the devil, right? Because there's always been negative or demonic like forces in all of these myths. There's always been something that's kind of the flip side to the good, something to keep the peoples in line. But at some point it became one hooved, typically red horned man that could turn anyone to a life of sin. So, the fun guy at the party.
Oh my goodness.
The guy you don't want to take to your nephew's wedding. Or maybe you do.
I can't wait. He's got a date with my ex-mother-in-law when she finally dies. I don't mean to keep harping on it, but I'm still a little bitter over that one,
Okay.
But nonetheless.
Yeah.
I mean,
you work through it. By the end of the 3 hours, you will be over it. You don't have to be over it yet.
It's been like 15 years. I'm not over that one yet.
No. Okay.
No, I'm not over that one yet. No, it's terrible. Anyways, we got like 30 seconds. What do you want to talk about, Varla Ventura? When's your next book coming out?
Oh gosh, I wish I knew. I've been actually working on something really completely different, and it is probably going to be my ultimate downfall, and I should just stick to what I know. So I'm hoping I have a book come out next year. At this point, if I can get it written and finished in the next 2 to 3 months, I still stand a chance of maybe getting it out by October. My publisher's always like October for me, popular month.
Yes.
But it just depends. It can take a year to go from manuscript to book. So,
all right. Well, when we come back from the break, we're going to take Varla Ventura into a direction that she absolutely loves, because we have one listener out there who's been working hard during the whole COVID thing, and she loves her mermaids.
Yes. Ooh, I have new information on mermaids.
Beautiful. So. We will get to that and other sea monsters with Varla Ventura. VarlaVentura.net is her website, and she's got great teeth, so make sure you check them on out when she smiles. More Spaced Out Radio coming up after this.
My headphones will fall out. So I'm going to try and find that book that has the vampire.
All right. I'm going to take my dogs out quickly, too.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Carl, don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month. And follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you an experiencer of something strange that can't be explained? Do you want help finding out what's going on? I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot THAL. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is watching.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi. This is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
Hey Space Travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the CHIVE and CHIVE Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little different. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, CHIVE Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache.
I'm
so
back.
Why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty...
I found the book. Oh, I actually got, like, it even has the euros on. I can't, that's, the thing isn't. Anyway, it's called Haunted Ireland. I picked it up in Ireland last summer.
Hey, the Ronald Penton has showed up. The Ronald Penton.
Wow.
I know.
Deargdol.
Deargdol.
The Deargdol.
That's the one. We have like 90, just over 90 seconds.
Great. Ooh, the blood drawing ghost. Oh, this will be lovely.
Okay. Goddess Michelle on Twitter. Shit, son. Mermaids. I'm all ears.
Oh. Okay.
Hey, Nilbog, how you doing, man? Hey, Super Quest. Good to have you, man. Love you, brother. All right. We've got about 45 seconds. White orange or white orangutan. Welcome. White orange. I prefer white orange. Let's just call him white orange. Hi, gorgeous Teresa. Teresa usually shows up when I'm speaking at conferences. I love her.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she's kind of cool that way. Hi, Chris Mo. All right, thank you to Ladybug Bigelow, Alaska's greatest athlete, Major Lee, Zoe Buttercup, and Shane for the super chats. Here we go.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight. Want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. What do you got for us, Clam? Reciprocornus. Reciprocornus is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shark's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Varla Ventura is back for another edition of Our Cryptid World. We love her around here. She has amazing horn-rimmed glasses on right now. She really does. Great teeth, fantastic author. Find all of her books in every major bookstore and online. Her website, varlaventura.net. The lovely and talented Varla, welcome back.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Mermaids. Michelle wants mermaids.
Now, but shouldn't we answer the vampire thing?
Okay. Yes.
Who asked that?
Earlier on, I believe it was Major Lee who asked.
Yeah, Major Lee.
Major Lee.
I don't have a great deal more information, but I did go and get the book that I bought at a haunted castle bookstore when I was in Ireland, and it's called Haunted Ireland, and it has a section. It has a section on the Irish vampire. It sort of talks mostly about the writers who were inspired and wrote, of course, Bram Stoker, and then Sheridan Le Fanu, who wrote Carmilla, which was actually earlier than Dracula, and a few other authors. So it talks about that a little bit, of course, literature. But the literature is based on some old folklore, and as you said, it's the Derg Duel, usually translated as sucker or drinker of human blood. And it could be stopped by rising from a piling of by piling cairn stones, or sort of what you would put on gravestones, upon its grave. There aren't a ton of stories. This book has basically none except for what I just told you, and this wonderful story about written by Cork writer Thomas Curtin. He wrote a story called The Blood-Drawing Ghost, in which an evil spirit drinks the blood of 3 brothers and kills them. The heroine, a girl named Kate, revives the victims and marries the most eligible of them. And again, the other instances are of some short stories that were written. Montague Summers, the writer, Dudley Wright, and then there have been some archaeological excavations that have shown certain things that might indicate that there are or were believed to be vampires in that area. And it says that in Waterford, where there were Vikings, there were several tales of the undead drinking the blood of the living. So we know that Vikings were kind of, a little bit into drinking blood out of skulls and stuff.
Not the good old Vikings, not the Christian Vikings.
The Vikings were the opposite of Christian.
True. Very, very true. All right. I know. All right, let's get to mermaids here. What do you got new for mermaids for us?
Well, it's probably not news to Goddess Michelle, and it's probably something that she and I have talked about a little bit, but it's something that I was kind of thinking about today, and that is that because people always ask me, are mermaids real? What if mermaids are real? How come we never see them? You hear that all the time about Bigfoot, right? If it's real, how come we don't have like any hard evidence? But mermaids especially, very, very elusive. And I was reading a little bit more about, there's a story it's from Cornwall, and it's about the mermaid of Zenor, which is in Cornwall. And this is, if anyone's heard of the mermaid chair, there is a bench in this church that has mermaids carved into it. And the story behind that is that this woman was thought to be a mermaid, and everyone in town thought she was a mermaid and sort of a witch because she wouldn't attend church. And so it was assumed that she was, came from the sea, and that she was married to a local man, and they had children, and that they were all descendants of this mermaid. And people who are associated with that family they're still descendants today. So I'm reading some stuff into that, and one of the ideas that has been put out on more than one occasion is that mermaids were and are associated with being healers and with medicine. If you think about like even the curative and healing properties of seaweed, you can see why this association would be very powerful. Women who could be in the sea, who could work along the sea, lots of health benefits there, right? But the idea was that during the witch craze, which was in the 1600s in Europe, in which witches were persecuted throughout Europe, throughout the British Isles, and that it was believed that mermaids were basically like hunted and killed and sort of flushed out during that time and decimated the population because they were equated with witchcraft and some of these witches and healing sort of whatever kind of spirits that were near in the wells and in the streams. And so that I just thought was a very interesting way of thinking about it, because you do see a lot of evidence of, entire cultures being destroyed because of this this phenomenon that, people believed that these women were poxing all of the cows and, riding pigs across the field and all manner of things. But in fact, most people were either land grabbing, wanted to take the power away from the poor old ladies who actually inherited the land from their husbands, and or all of the above. And everyone was high on ergot. And so they were seeing all kinds of things in the corners of their eyes. So the idea that mermaids were persecuted for the same reason, I don't know. I'd be curious what Goddess Michelle thinks of that, because I think it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, what are ergots? I've never heard of this.
Oh, ergot is a mold that grew on rye flour that was undetectable, but when processed and cooked into bread, it caused, it was basically like a poison, and it caused ergot poisoning, which causes extreme hallucinations. And they have, since figured out that a mass number of people who were seeing vampires, werewolves, and witches ride through the night throughout the 1600s and leading to the witch craze were under the influence of this ergot, and were, some people just, made it up to go along with it or whatever, but that a lot of those sightings that people believed to be really real, they were real because they were hallucinating and seeing them. And so that was a huge part of the problem. And we're talking about like people imagine, I don't know if you've ever done any hallucinogens, Dave, but anyone else?
I am a virgin at that. I am a virgin at that. Yes.
I am not sure if I'm allowed to say what I am on the air, so I can say it on the break. But the point being, anyone who has done anything like that, it can be very frightening and very intense when you know you're going into it. Imagine if you had no idea that that was happening. Then that leads you to seeing and not understanding what you're seeing. So it wasn't done deliberately. It was done by accident. So.
All right. From Singapore, our good friend Ibarata is asking if you have ever looked into the legend of the merlion.
Oh, so I was actually just earlier today, I was kind of looking back through my mermaid book, and I remember this whole article that I had read about different kinds of like mer creatures, that it's not always like a mer man or mer woman. You have like things like were dolphins, mer in one island in the Caribbean, I think there was like a mer turtle. So I don't really know too much about it other than the idea of a half aquatic creature merging with something that was very iconic in that area. You would see that somewhat frequently. But I don't know a lot about the merlion. It sounds amazing.
It's like a goldfish with a lion's head.
Oh. I mean, there's lionfish, right? So.
No, that ain't it.
That ain't the same thing.
No. In Singapore, they have a giant merlion shooting out water into the ocean. It's actually kind of cool, this statue.
Rad.
Yes. Yeah. Kind of like it. Sea monsters. Let's continue on.
Sea monsters.
Yeah. It's been a lot of news lately, and I know you're a little bit of a hockey fan, about the NHL adding this Seattle Kraken. Which I still think that they should have called themselves something different, although the Kraken is a pretty cool name. Very cool, but I think...
Kraken is way cool.
It is very cool.
I'm in full support of the Kraken.
I was hoping for Rainiers.
Oh, because of the mountain? That'd be a good one.
Or if you wanted real history, Seattle Americans, the first ever American NHL team to win the Stanley Cup. Before there was an NHL, though.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Kraken. I could see Rainiers being cool. I love, but I mean, come on, Kraken. I mean, I haven't seen what their logo is finalized. I've seen a couple pictures. My son showed me a couple pictures. It's going to be totally amazing because it's going to be a Kraken. So.
Okay, but the Kraken, of course.
Kraken.
Yeah, let's talk about this because, I mean, it's a legendary mythical creature where back in the 15 and 1600s, where man started getting brave and sailing into the depths of the oceans, not knowing where the flat Earth was going to take them. I mean, that's kind of where we kind of get a little bit freaky because there's all of these legends and stories of these giant Kraken-like creatures taking down these sail ships.
Yeah, well, a lot of the Kraken sightings come from the sort of North Sea. So where sort of in between like Scandinavia and the northern part of the British Isles, that was the primary, over to Iceland and Newfoundland. That was the primary area where you would see Kraken drawn on maps and things like that. Now, of course, we're talking about maps that I've looked at where they're sailing from those parts of the world. So you do see those like sea serpents and Kraken elsewhere. But specifically, and it's prominent in like Norse mythology, this like, giant, basically like squid. Well, think also you're thinking about a time when we think of ships as like these massive, like, Carnival cruise cesspools or whatever. But the Vikings didn't have ginormous ships like that. Their ships were pretty low to the ground. Now the Spanish galleons and things, those were a bit bigger, but still out on the sea, they're not huge. In California and along the coast of California, there's the giant Pacific squid, right? And the Humboldt squid. And they like to live really, really, really deep. They don't like to be up near the surface. They like to be really low down where the water's nice and cold, but occasionally they come up to feed. In Mexico, you'd hear these stories about these fishermen whose boats were tipped by these, these giant tentacles and things. Well, turns out those legends are real. The Humboldt squid are aggressive. They will attack fishing boats, and they do have big tentacles that they will reach up and they will pull you down. Go back, and now this is in modern times. Go back hundreds of years when the sea was colder, less polluted, less traversed, and things, there weren't as many predators, so things got bigger and bigger and bigger and lived longer. Now I'm thinking the Kraken is real, that it's not just this legend, but it was just, this massive thing that had to be avoided, because if you sailed into its territory, it would just topple your boat. And things get magnified at sea. Any fisherman will tell you.
Yeah, but they
something that was this big suddenly becomes, this big.
But they also saw half women, half fish.
Yeah, exactly. So
don't look them in the eyes. Don't let them serenade you.
Don't listen. Don't listen to them, because they'll guide you toward the rocks, and then you'll crash, and they just want your souls anyway. So they're just going to swim over, make you think they're comforting you, and then slowly escort you down to your soul cage down at the bottom of the deep.
Lovely.
Pretty much.
I still think, and I know we've talked about this before, but I never get enough of it. I still think that, there is some of these larger creatures around. I still think Megalodon is out there somewhere.
Yeah. I would not be surprised. I really wouldn't. And I think, we may also, as ice melts, find things that have been preserved that are of this kind of magnitude as well. So the Kraken. Now there's a ton of different kind of sea. I feel like every lake in North America practically has a sea serpent, especially the ones that are kind of in the northern part. Anything along the border. Canada has tons of lake monsters. There's creatures in the bays on all ends, from Chesapeake Bay to, over in BC, you guys have a couple different sea serpents or monsters there. But I was looking back through a lot of those things this evening, because I knew that we might want to talk about some of these amazing creatures. And I was reminded of the definition of a Kelpie. Do you know what a Kelpie is?
No.
So Kelpie is from Scotland. And if you look up Kelpie, you're going to see these amazing sculptures of these horse-headed serpents, because that's what most people think of when they think of Kelpies. They think of these sculptures of Kelpies. But the Kelpie is an old sea creature, always depicted with the head of a horse. So imagine basically a giant seahorse, but with sort of a longer eel-like body, usually all black. And I found one thing about in an old Robbie Burns poem from 1786, and it talked about that when the horses, these Kelpies kind of came on land, they left behind their hooves, and that actually transformed into the devil. And I thought, well, if that's not an anglicized version of some ancient mythology, I don't know what is. But so the reason I bring these up is because when I was comparing some of the sea serpents that I've researched and then just ones that I've read accounts of people seeing, frequently the description fits very much a kelpie. It fits this idea of sort of a long eelish body with a very, very prominent horse-like face. Different colors, different scales. Some are pokey, some are, with the one exception is the one in Lake Superior. And the one in Lake Superior is also called like the water panther or the water puma, Michipeshu. And that is more of has more of a cat-like face, and it has a long tail with spikes all on the back of it. And those spikes come splashing down, and it brings on basically the gales of November, and brings on like those huge kind of waves and sucks you down and tips over your boat and all of that.
Well, the legend lives on from the Chippewa,
down
to the great lake they call Gitchagumi.
The lake, it is said, never gives up their dead. Yeah, but he does talk about that. And so it's pretty interesting because it's a little bit different. But by and large, a lot of them have this sort of horse-like appearance. So what's the one nearest to you is you've got, there's one in basically Puget Sound, Cadboro Bay, pretty probably closest to you from any of them, near Victoria, and that's Caddy. It's a Cadborosaurus.
There's also the Cameron Lake sea monster.
Okay.
I used to, when I lived on Vancouver Island, when I started my radio career, Cameron Lake was about 10 miles, 15 miles from where I lived. We'd go there fishing. We'd walk in waist deep. Didn't know there was a sea monster in there, because if I did, guess who would not be going in the lake?
Well, that is pretty much another recurring theme with a lot of these sea monsters. You have the First Nations or the indigenous people who lived there, and then like the French explorers or the English explorers coming through, and they said, don't go in that lake. Like, we don't bathe in that lake. Like, we'll fish in it, but we don't swim in it. We don't bathe in it. Like, it upsets the monster. So you see that over and over again, this sort of repeated warning where, you live by a lake. There's a lot of advantages to living by water.
How many lakes have you swam in that have sea monsters allegedly in them?
Have I actually gone in? Lake Superior. I've gone in a couple bodies of water, ocean. I've been in the ocean around Ireland and California. I've been in the ocean up in British Columbia.
That's dark, eh? It's dark.
Oh, it is. It is.
Dark.
It's dark and it's cold. It's beautiful, but it's cold, and you have to wear a really, really thick wetsuit, and then you feel like you're a seal and a shark is just going to come.
Absolutely. Yeah. On that note, that's why I don't swim in the Pacific.
Yeah.
Because sharks. Absolutely. There's sharks all over the place. And I'm not going there. I am not. I've also swam in Okanagan Lake, at Cameron Lake. That's enough sea monster stuff for me. Varla Ventura's Our Cryptid World continues on Spaced Out Radio right after this. We is clear.
I mean, I would swim, and by swim, I mean, frolic a bit on the shore in pretty much any of these places. Swimming out toward the center.
No, garbage. That's just wanting death. Wanting death right there. No. I didn't know until after. This true story. When I started my radio career in a small town, island town called Parksville. Okay, everything shut down at 6 o'clock except for the bar, which was extremely haunted, old hotel, and the A&W. So
Cool.
we used to go out on the beach at night, and during the day, you'd go out. Well, sometimes the water, the way the tide rolls in and out, created this island, right? So we're standing on this island, and the tide is coming in, and I don't seem to realize that, that walking area is getting deeper and deeper. And all I'm thinking is, I got to go through there. It was only like 12 feet, but Jaws was coming, man. I heard the theme song the entire time. I was like, nope.
My sister won't swim in anything that she can't see the water. And we grew up swimming in like a very clear river. And I'll swim in just about anything.
Nope.
But she will not swim in any body of water where she cannot see the bottom. That's a good policy.
See, not seeing the bottom doesn't scare me. The fact that eventually a fin is going to come out of that water. Okay.
So are you okay with swimming in lakes then?
I'm not a strong swimmer.
Right, but
no, I don't mind lakes. I don't. If they don't have a resident sea monster, I'm good.
Or if you don't know that they have a resident sea monster, you're good.
Exactly. Like I'll be honest with you, Okanagan Lake, which is about 4 hours from me, it could go fuck itself. Okay, because there's a sea monster in there. Okay, which is probably a sturgeon, but that lake could go to hell. Okay,
a very, very big one.
Yes,
if it's a sturgeon, yeah.
And that lake could go bye. No, the closest I've come to being attacked in water, to be serious, I was fishing in the river one time at my favorite fishing hole, and the guy standing beside me got attacked by a beaver.
Oh.
Yeah. There were two beavers. They were stealing logs because I was fishing almost underneath a bridge. So the two beavers were coming in, stealing the logs that had kind of jammed up on the bridge and the trees and everything. And, well, they saw him, and they were going after his leg thinking that he was a tree. Yeah.
No way.
And he's like slamming hey, Dutch, I'm talking about Keith Wilson Bridge right now. He's slamming his rod in the river trying to get these damn beavers away. Right?
Like, all I can think of is rabies.
Well, I mean, it's a beaver, right? It's Canadian. I mean, it may bring you Tim Hortons coffee. You don't know, right? You don't know.
Timbits.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He never hit the beaver. But that's as close. Probably the scariest incident I ever had in the water is I was belly boating in this lake. I mean, you talk about dark lakes. This thing is black. Okay? Black. And it's on top of this mountain. Little lake called Stacy Lake. And we're fishing there. And they got trout in there and everything. And I'm in a belly boat. So if you don't know what a belly boat is, it's like you sit in an inner tube, and then you got flippers on your feet, and you kind of kick back. Well, all of a sudden, I'm concentrating on my fly line, and I got my fly line out.
Do that while you're fishing, because you just relax.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of get a little bit further out. Okay.
Yeah, usually I'll just go out there and I'll fall asleep. I'll put like 45, 50 feet on my fly line out, and then I just nod off. I've lost so many fish that way. But anyways, there was a bunch of logs coming out of the water, and all of a sudden I turned around to kind of get it because I knew it was coming to those logs, and I see one of the logs coming out of the water, and my ass is about to hit it, and it, you do that quick look, and it's like, because you think all of a sudden there's like a big
sea monster,
monster there that's coming to get you, but no, it was a log, and my butt got attacked by a log underwater. All right,
Oh.
we have 10 seconds here on Spaced Out Radio. Hold on, Varla Ventura. Continuing. Halfway point of Spaced Out Radio has been crossed, but we're finding the strength to continue tonight because that's what we do here on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for allowing us to earn your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Varla Ventura and Our Cryptid World continues here on the mighty SOR. We're talking all things monstrous tonight, and we're going to get a little dark. We're going to get a little deep with Varla, as her website is varlaventura.net. Varla, welcome back.
Well, thank you.
Let's get into Pan.
Oh, yeah.
You want to get
Let's
into
do it.
Pan? I want to get into Pan. Let's pan the hell out of this half hour.
Let's do Okay. Deal. Yeah. Well, I think, Pan, of course, is from, is this sort of goat-footed creature that causes mayhem, right? He's this trickster. He's hangs out with the fairies, half goat, half man, and really good at playing the flute. Usually, crown of flowers, and hangs out with all the dryads and naiads in the forest. But this idea of a goat-footed god and, Pan being, coming, the word panic coming from Pan, there's so many overlaps between, like, the goat-footed god, the devil, the idea of Pan. So if you see these, even Krampus, that terrifying, like, holiday fun creature from Germany and parts of Eastern Europe that is like basically this like furry, beastly, ghosty goaty thing that snatches children who have misbehaved. There's all of these like great creatures that kind of fall under that cloven. Put them in the cloven-hooved category.
Like the New Jersey Devils, the cloven-hooved ones.
Yeah. But, I think it's very interesting. I've read a couple of sort of pretty boring books about the goat-footed god. One that was annotated by a man named Raven Grimassi, and he did a pretty good job of, like, trying to bring it into the modern context. But this book was all just kind of about the different ways in which where in different places and ways in which the goat-footed god has appeared. You see it in Ireland. You see it with the puka that shapeshifts. You see it with these horse-headed things in Scotland. You see these kind of transformative, shape-shifting magical creatures. I once put out an ebook called The Occult Power of Goats, and it was based off of some information that I had gotten from a man named William Wirt Sykes, who was he was like the Welsh consulate general in the 1800s, and he just loved Welsh culture and he was American. He just thought it was absolutely so unique and so different than what was happening in like the 1800s and the US, and he went around and like collected all these stories at the crossroads, and he wrote this whole book, and one of the things was all about the occult power of goats and how goats were believed to be able to speak at midnight, especially around specific holidays such as the 12 days of Christmas. And as we're going into the Christmas season, there's all these great passages about wells, if you are out past midnight on Christmas Eve, wells will run, the water will turn to blood, and all of the animals begin talking. So witches start cavorting on this night. So the association with witches and goats and goat-footed gods and the devil, you see this kind of progression of it. And I mean, it's absolutely fascinating. I think if you think about something like a hooved animal, it's very important in many cultures. It brings milk, it brings clothing, it brings meat, it brings so many different important, vital things, that to be able to like worship it and make an offering to some kind of guardian of these, be they goats or rams or sheep or any horse or any kind of I guess donkey, whatever you want to throw in there in the cloven hooved category. So yeah,
the New Jersey Devil, cloven hoof one,
the cloven
on
hoof
skates.
Well, and it's interesting too, because you see in folklore the word devil is thrown around a lot in a very different way than the devil. You see this, devilish creatures and devilish behavior and winged things that are thought to be like the spawn of the devil, and all these kind of instances of sort of using it, more adjectively, right? Like describing all of these things. And then you have the devil, who kind of shambles in and basically forces you to make a deal that you somehow don't want, and that will get you in the end. So I also think the devil is this wonderful metaphor for greed, stupidity, laziness, often used in that context to teach people lessons about not scrubbing the hearth or what have you, cleaning out the staples properly.
Okay, what's the dangers of trying to summon Pan? We see this in the paranormal. We recently saw it on camera last year with Hellier 2, where they were in a cave trying to summon Pan. Is that even possible?
Oh, I think you could totally tap into Pan. Yeah. But I think if you don't know what you're doing, it could cause quite a bit of mayhem. I mean, you can tap into all kinds of things. You can do ceremonies to tap into your long dead relatives and ask them for guidance. And people call on all kinds of deities, and there's so many facets of the things that different people call upon or use in witchcraft and magic. So you can, it's going to cause chaos and mayhem because that is what it represents. So if you expect anything different, you're a fool. So, but yeah, I absolutely think you could. Why not? We could use a little more mayhem, right? We're in the middle of a pandemic. Ooh.
Nice pun. Well played. Well played. Now, Pan is known for everything from erotica to worship and even a little Satanism here. Why would someone want to try and bring this dude around?
Well, why not? You just described all the things I love. I think because it's not just about that. It's also about shaking things up, breaking from the status quo, causing a little bit of chaos, causing a little bit of panic, causing people to sort of shake things down from the rafters. And I think that is it's looked upon as this negative thing, but that can serve you very well. If you don't occasionally kind of shake things up, you just whatever, you're just stuck, right? We're stuck as a society. And so you need a little bit of mayhem, which we are currently in the midst of. I'm not saying that I wish this or I would want anyone to bring something like a pandemic on, but it's not just that. There are other things that are happening globally and culturally that are really clashing. There's a lot of chaos. And out of chaos comes the phoenix, right? Out of the fire, out of the ashes comes something stronger and more beautiful and more resilient. So that's why you need Pan, because you can't just like suddenly be this beautiful butterfly and float around. You have to actually like deal with some of the beat that's in front of you, you know?
No, I understand that, but I mean, to try and summon something up from potentially the depths of hell, that just does not sound like fun for me.
Well, probably more of just like a challenge. And is that even really possible? And I don't actually think that Pan is from the depths of hell. I think Pan is hanging out in the woods.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, it is.
So
hanging out in the woods, hanging out in the unknown.
So is Pan the guy who's standing at the top of these stairways that just happen to be in the middle of the forest?
Ooh, oh, those freaky stairway forests.
Yeah.
How many of those do you think are photoshopped?
Oh, I would say all of them, almost.
Yeah. But wouldn't it be cool to find one? It's like finding a door in a tree in the middle of the woods.
Would you go up to the top?
Oh, of course.
What if something happened?
I mean, you know, que sera, sera, Dave. Yeah, I would go
screw
up.
it. I'm going with you. I'm going with you.
How would you not? How would you not go up? I mean, that's like not, you know. Here's your favorite piece of Halloween candy. I'm going to put it on the counter. Do not eat it under any circumstances. It's the Pandora's box syndrome. Of course you're going to eat it. Of course you're going to touch it. Of course you're going to go up the stairs.
I tell you, I don't know if I would. I really don't. The first thing I would do if I saw a stairway in the forest.
Throw something up it.
No. First thing I would do is I would go feel the energy of it. I'd go touch it. I'd go touch it. If there's like a hand railing, I would touch it. Feel what the energy says. You know. Then I would bring out my portable Ouija board, which I don't have, but I think would be really cool in that situation.
In this scenario,
yes.
Yes, of course.
You know. This is why I never head into the forest without my portable Ouija board. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Pocket Ouija.
Yeah, my
We
pocket
should market
Ouija.
that.
We totally could. Dude,
I know.
That is a killer idea.
Tiny magic 8 balls and pocket Ouija boards. Yeah. Let's do it. You heard it here first. Patent pending.
Yes. We copyright it. 11/19/2020.
There, done.
Yeah, there we go. We're copyrighted.
Legally binding.
Dude, we seriously need to do that now.
I know. And
know.
you could wear the planchet. You could wear the planchet around your neck. Like the little thing that you move around, you can wear it as your necklace, and you just pull it out of your pocket, and it's like ready right there for you.
Oh yeah. All right. We're gonna market this now. The pocket Ouija.
It's happening.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anywho, so we get to the top of the stairway. What do you think happens?
Yeah, I mean, maybe you just like keep going. Maybe it's just another step. It could be like a trick.
Bapster is saying in the chat room, a search and rescue guy told stories about stairs and never to go near them.
Because you might fall through them.
What if there's cement or brick or rock, mortar?
Well, I mean, look, I guess if I walked over to it and I had an extreme foreboding feeling, I wouldn't walk up it. But the odds are I would be like, I'm just going to walk up halfway and see what's up there. And then I would probably walk to the top and nothing would happen. And I would laugh at you from the top of the stairs.
And then lightning would start
and then I would
coming
disappear
over.
And you'd be like, oh, what happened?
I'm telling you, I don't know if I would do that. I don't know if I would do that. I mean, I would sooner go run chasing Bigfoot in the forest.
Yeah, but you would sleep in a haunted house, right?
I do every night.
So there. That's, it's like some people would be like really afraid to do that. But in this hypothetical situation, I think you're braver than you think.
I don't know. I could, there's no sharks around. But what if this thing opened up a portal leading to an ocean with great white sharks in it, or megalodon right there?
You had me at open up a portal. I'm in. Totally going in.
Oh, I don't know. I
mean, I've been on, well, I'll tell you one thing I won't go in.
Okay.
I will not go in abandoned mine shafts. I think that's a solid policy. I will linger near the front of them if I'm trying to, like, throw a rock in there or see if anything throws it back. But I will not go in abandoned mine shafts. That's a policy of mine. Now, I've been in abandoned mine shafts, but I don't do it anymore.
No.
So there you go.
There's too many variables.
Got to draw the line somewhere.
In my area, there is way too many variables. There's a good chance that there is something wild that is sleeping in there.
There's that. There's cave-ins, cave-ons, crashing through. I mean, I grew up in the foothills of California, where every 20 feet there's a pocket of dugout earth where once someone thought there was gold. So the ground is pretty unstable in a lot of that area.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, so
I was also reading a story. I know you like a lot of like true crime every now and again.
Oh, I love.
Have you ever heard the story of Richard Kuklinski?
I don't think so.
Okay, he was a mob hitman, allegedly killed like 400 people during his career. Anyways, one of the things he allegedly did was he would take his victims taped up, like duct taped up, and he was a big man, like 6'4", 6'5", almost 300 pounds. He'd throw them. He was called the Iceman. And he would throw them over their shoulder, first off, when he kidnapped them, he'd throw them in the trunk, and then he would drive from New York to Pennsylvania into this cave area where he would take the live bodies. This guy was so sick, he had live cameras set up in these caves, and he would record, and then he would slice the victim open on their arms and legs, throw them into the cave, deep into the cave, and he would film them as the rats ate that person alive.
Ew, Jesus.
Oh yeah, it was sick. It was absolutely sick. How he described it.
Incredibly disgusting.
Yeah, that's another reason, because there may be human skulls in there, human body parts. I'm not good with that. Totally not good with that.
Yeah, okay, so you wouldn't then go into like the catacombs in Paris? Do you know what those are? Where you like they have all the they had all the mass burials from the plague, and they had to like move them in the 1800s or something, or the 1700s, and so they put them into these underground caverns and they arranged them all artfully, although in a few places when I was there were just kind of like some leftover piles of like skulls and things like that. But like you're underground, so it's already kind of like intensely mild, kind of claustrophobic and weird, and you're under Paris, so you at any point a rat could chew on your ankle, right? And then they keep it's a museum though, so they actually keep it very clean, and it's very well lit and reasonable and everything. And then there's just like thousands of skulls of people who were, maybe they were orphans, they were abandoned, they couldn't, there was just mass victims. And so they arranged them in these kind of, it's like an ossuary. They arranged them in these patterns and kind of make something really beautiful out of them. But you are surrounded by bones. And there's another one in Czech Republic in Kutná Hora, and that is they say that the chandelier there has one of every bone in the human body, but it's not all the same body, and that's the same kind of thing, although that's above ground, so you might be able to deal with that a little bit more. It's very interesting. I had never experienced anything like that in the United States, of course, so had to check it out in Europe. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those bucket list things. See it once.
I could do that.
Seen them all.
If it's lit up, I could do that.
Historically fascinating. Is the other part of it, and very. I mean, it's steeped in energy for sure. Like you don't just walk through there going like, nice art. You're like, whoa, these are, Thousands of human skulls. Oh.
Beautiful. It's exactly what we want in life.
Thousands of human skulls. What? No, that's not what we want in life.
No.
No. Stairways in the woods. Nope, not that either. Not that either. Castle. We want a castle on an island with a infinite supply of friends, food, and
I'm not taking friends.
Whiskey.
I'm not taking friends.
All right, no friends. No friends allowed. Dude, there's a moat then.
Huge moat.
There's a moat.
Huge moat. Huge moat all around, filled with alligators and piranha.
And all deliveries are sent via catapult.
Catapult or helicopter. One of the two. However, Goddess Michelle is allowed to be there because she's a nurse.
Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah,
yes.
She's in the inner circle.
Yes. Goddess Michelle on Twitter, by the way, says, please do not step into any portals. We need you here, please.
Okay.
By the way, that tweet was for you, not me, which means, Dave, go in the portal. You know,
Dave, the portal will do you some good.
Go in the portal, Dave. See what happens. Don't worry, Dave. We got you covered. We got your back. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, but I do think, Desert Clam was showing that there are some mini Ouijas out there on Twitter.
But it's the pocket Ouija that's really our thing.
Well, there is a keychain with a Ouija board and a planchette that goes along with it. I think our idea is toast.
But it's not pocket Ouija copyright trademark. Pocket Ouija.
It might be, though. We don't know. There's another one here, too. These are like keychain Ouijas, though. Keychain Ouijas are different.
Yeah, this is a pocket Ouija.
Yeah, we're marketing this. We're marketing the SOR pocket Ouija.
Yeah. We just need a prototype.
Do I know anybody who
can carve?
I do.
Perfect.
I totally do. I'm gonna call him tomorrow. This is Varla and Dave's pocket Ouija.
We've got $1 million, well, maybe a $100 idea.
Let's hyphenate the product. We'll use my DA, your RLA. We'll call it Darla's board.
Okay. All right.
And then we'll create
Darla's pocket Ouija.
Yeah. Then we'll create a character called Darla that you could have to try and summon.
I get called Darla all the time. I get called Marla more frequently, but yeah, I like Darla.
What about Starla? You get called Starla?
I've never been called Starla. That never happens.
I hope that never happens either. Goddess Michelle says, Dave, we know no portal for you. You would never get the stains out of your pants. That's not funny. I'm not that much of a scaredy cat.
Except he doesn't need pants once he goes through the portal, so problem solved.
True. Very true.
He needs pants in the other world. He'll be wearing like a tunic or something.
It's like my buddy at work here yesterday. He had to go for a colonoscopy earlier this week. So what's the first thing I do when I see him? Hey, buddy, how was your alien probe?
Nice.
He said, oh, they were pretty good aliens, man. He goes, they lubed up this time. He was totally prepared for it. Varla, I got to get you to hold on.
Awesome.
You know why?
And on that note. Time for a break.
I'm going to get you to hold on because we are going to go to break at the top of the hour. We have the lovely and talented and perfect teeth, Varla Ventura, here on Spaced Out Radio. We have her for another 30 minutes here on the big show. I always say, make sure you check out her website, varlaventura.net, and you can get all of her books online or at any major bookstore. Don't forget, Hour 3, Varla, then the SOR Newswire, and the Thought of the Day, all at a jam-packed Hour 3 of Spaced Out Radio next. We're clear. All right, I'm going to run my dogs out one more time.
Okay. I'm trying to find the Thought of the Dave.
Thought of the Dave on Twitter.
Oh, no, I'm looking.
Keep looking. It's
Radio.
there.
Our
Came down at about
Instagram,
9:30
Dave
this
Scott
morning.
SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the CHIVE and CHIVE Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little different. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, CHIVE Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get from Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and we have some cool swag for you to pick up. All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it. We can
Hey,
get it.
Varla.
Oh, hey.
Hey, Varla. Philip Blair is here. The Philip Blair. Hey, Sovereign Cosmic Wildman. What's happening? Let's see here. What were you guys hearing? Were you talking during the break?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
I was not here. I just got back.
Oh, weird.
Why? Is there?
Well, they were saying they were hearing some noises in the studio while we were gone.
Like what?
I don't know.
Interesting.
Not the first time that's happened.
Yeah, I just got back a minute or so before you and put my headphones in and started breathing really heavy.
Oh,
Just kidding. I didn't.
Well,
I didn't. I
I mean,
actually didn't.
that happens. I don't blame you. I really don't blame
I
you.
really didn't. Goddess Michelle put a really funny Ouija picture up, so
Oh.
everyone wants to summon on my board.
Oh, yes. Wow. Wow.
Yep.
Goodbye is in a dangerous spot there. All right. We have like 20 seconds left. Big thank you for the hat trick of Super Chats by Major Lee. We got a pair from Ladybug Bigelow, that is Alaska's greatest athlete. Zoe Buttercup, thank you. Shane Spielman, I appreciate your Super Chat as well. And we're going to get going here in like 5 seconds. Hold on.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio. We're underway tonight. Thank you so much for tuning us in. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. What do you got for us, Clam? Reciprocornis. Reciprocornis is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, we introduce the woman, the myth, and the legend, all rolled into one. Varla Ventura is back with Our Cryptid World. We will next talk to her in 2021 after today. I know it's weird to think about Varla, but it is true. Her website, varlaventura.net. You can grab all of her books at every major bookstore and on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other online venues. Varla, welcome back.
Thank you.
2021, the next time we will speak with you.
Big.
Huge.
Seems like a big date. So I didn't do anything on break, but I have done that before when you've been gone. I've read and done things that you probably didn't know about. But this time I did nothing. So curious.
Yeah. Apparently there was noises coming out of the studio, and Varla was silent and I was silent because I took my dogs outside during the break. And
I went to get more liquor. Actually, I went to get water. But.
Yes. Well, for listeners who don't know, I actually have a studio in my home. And that's where I broadcast from instead of going into a radio station. So this is where it gets kind of cool. And, yeah, man, you never know what's happening. I don't know what was heard or whatever, but you know what? We could blame the gnomes in here. I don't have any haunted objects that I know of in here.
That you know of.
Well, I do have a pair of old pop cans.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mean that's soda, right? Just kidding.
Soda pop cans, yes. Translate for the Americans, soda. Soda pop cans. Yes, I have a pair of them. And but I asked permission if I could take them, and I was told yes.
Where'd you take them from?
A plane crash site. They weren't at the plane crash site directly. They were off the trail, so basically the rescue people or the recovery people gathered their cans and just chuck the cans, right? And the cans have stayed there for 50 years, and I actually asked out of that pile if I could take a couple of cans. And on a ghost box, we actually heard a male voice say yes.
Whoa.
So we got permission.
So those are in your studio right now?
They're in my studio right now. They are, one second here. I know our radio people will not be able to see this, but hold on.
But I'll describe it for you. Dave is going to get the cans.
There they are.
Still getting them. Okay, let's see.
There they are.
So for anyone who can't see, they are White Rock Grape.
Yeah.
Is that what it says?
Yeah, they're both White Rock Grape.
White Rock Grape. Slightly, quite rusty.
Yeah.
Purplish on the bottom. I'm not familiar with that brand.
Like, they're old when you have to, remember the other end of the bottle openers where it had the pointy end that you had to press in?
Yeah, like you do when you get like,
Clamato or
yeah,
V8.
yes, you have to exactly,
Yeah.
V8. You have to stick the pointy part in there.
Yeah, so I have those. That's it.
Okay.
That's it for potentially haunted objects. Outside of my, I have my pendulums here. Yeah.
But your house is haunted, you say?
Yes. Very.
Mm-hmm.
At times. Nothing bad. Nothing bad. We get a lot of weird stuff here.
Huh. Builds character.
Of course it does. Of course it does. Speaking of weird stuff, paranormal stuff, one of the things we talked about leading into this show, which we haven't gone into yet, is talking about ghosts and their whole idea of if they are tied to cryptids and monsters. Do you think there is a correlation between them?
Yeah, I think I do think yes, I do. I think my attitude toward ghosts has changed a lot in the last year in particular, probably the last 6 months. But over the years, I think I used to subscribe to the idea that many of us, have heard growing up as paranormal people or, getting into paranormal investigations about sort of like unrequited, just unsatisfied spirits sort of roaming and that is, and there are all there's this whole list of things why someone might not be satisfied in the afterlife or be allowed to go on to the afterlife, and that was the root cause of a lot of hauntings. But I do not really believe that is the case anymore. And one of the reasons that I don't believe that is because I have, I don't know, I've just spent a lot of time thinking about the rituals of, this is something I think about occasionally anyway, but sort of the rituals of death and the rituals of mourning and the idea that we're facing over and over again in this year in particular of not being with our loved ones and not having that like sort of loving release into the afterlife. I think that we could see a real spike in hauntings in 2021 for sure.
Are you kidding me? That's been the greatest part of 2020 for me as an introvert, not having people around.
I don't actually interact with a lot of people in general. The thing that I really miss is travel, because I like to travel and not interact necessarily. I just love to travel. I love to be in new places. So that I think is I don't mind missing the people so much as not being able to actually like really go anywhere. There's a little cabin fever here. But in any case, I do think that one of the things that really leads me to believe that the paranormal and the sort of cryptid world, if you will, are or can be one and the same is the idea of, again, just going to go back to my ancient Celts here, and we're going to just talk about the second sight. And there wasn't a lot of delineation between someone who could see a spirit, a ghost, a banshee, or a leprechaun. It was a person who had the second sight. It was a gift. It was not something that everyone could do. And you could walk into, if you had the second sight, you could walk into a room, you could walk into a outdoor market, and you could tell who were non-humans. You could see who were the fairies and who were the spirits who were just sort of trying to trick everyone into thinking that they were humans and sort of dwelling among. And so I think because of that, and I think like the banshee is probably one of the best examples of the paranormal meeting this sort of cryptid or magical creature and seeing that kind of overlap. So yeah, I mean, I think that we accept ghosts more in our modern Western view, at least. We accept ghosts more as a thing that is unexplained but we believe in, easier than we accept things like Bigfoot, mermaids, pukas, all of those kind of other dogmen, werewolves, all these sort of like cryptid things, sea serpents. It's easier to accept something. I also think more people have had experiences that they would put in the category of paranormal, i.e. ghosts. I think it's more common than at first when you first are kind of, well, not so much for me because I grew up seeing ghosts and was raised by a witch, so it was always common for me. But you don't realize how many people have had that experience. And there are a lot of people who don't identify with either of those things, who have had very, very profound paranormal experiences that still might kind of, not want to talk about if they thought they saw a fairy or a UFO for that matter. So.
Okay. So when we are communicating with ghosts, do you believe that they are the spirits of loved ones who have passed over? Or do you believe that maybe we're communicating with another entity on a different timeline?
So I think if you want to communicate with a loved one, you have to be very specific in that. You can't just grab a board and be like, okay, Grandma, let's talk. You really have to be very conscientious and conscious about making that request and asking that person to come through to you. And then you have to believe that that's possible, and you have to actually get some kind of sign that makes you feel that way. The whole tenet of spiritualism is that you can do that and that you will get a life lesson or a response back. With the help of a medium contacting the spirit world, you will get this really important message that you needed to hear. And so in that way, it can be used as a tool for grief very much. We see that so much that anyone who's lost someone has undoubtedly had a moment where they've felt that person's presence, whether it's just a thought because you see something that reminds you of them, or you're thinking about them, and then you see that thing, or you find a marble, or you find a dime, or you find a special object that you equate with them. So I think you can have communications, but if you are conscientiously trying to say, hey, I need your help, or I really want to talk to you, there's this thing we want to talk about, great thing to do at Halloween. It's ancestral magic and it's very specific, and you can call upon certain deceased people in a conscientious way. But there are no guarantees. There are never any guarantees. So something else could latch on. That's why I think a lot of people fear something like a Ouija board, because they think something else might be a portal bringing something in. I think it's more of a psychic's tool and can be used to kind of actually see something written. Automatic writing is another way that's very that's very effective to actually get a message through. Otherwise, so it's left up to interpretation, right? You don't have the alphabet, so you're just leaving it up to interpretation. But you can also make contact with other things, and if you just go about, lighting 13 candles and calling upon Pan, who knows what you're going to get.
Very true. Very true. I mean, just the idea, though, that we don't know really whom we're communicating with. I mean, could we be communicating with a trickster spirit? Could we be communicating with our great-grandfather or great-grandmother? Could we be communicating with an entity that is on a different timeline? The fact is, we really don't know. We can only hope to assess.
We don't know. And one thing about making that communication, whether you believe in the woo of magic or not, if you are doing it within, that is intent. Your intent is everything. And whatever part of that ritual that is your intention can really set the tone for what kind of thing you can connect with, I believe. But did I ever tell you the story about I think it was my first Ouija experience? And it was my sister and I was like 7 and she was 8, and my mom had given us a board for Christmas. And, it was like the 80s. It was Parker Brothers Ouija board era. And we got this Ouija board out, and right away we started making contact with something right away. Now, I believe that the Ouija board also can operate on kinetic energy. And when you have two rather psychic sisters who are very close, basically like, close enough to be twins, I think that we have some energy that can move that thing around. So we kept playing with it and we kept playing with it. And then one day we made contact with a little girl who was buried on the property next door, a little pioneer girl. And my mom walked in and she said, "Oh, girls, what are you doing?" And we were like, "Oh, well, we're just talking with the ghost of Elise on this Ouija board, And my mom got really freaked out. And she walked over and she grabbed the board and she slammed it closed, and the little planchette went crunch inside, and she put it under her arm and she just marched out of there. And we were kind of like, whatever. And I asked my sister about this, and she said, "Well, I remember knowing that I wasn't moving it and thinking, could you possibly be moving it?" And I remember, of course, I wasn't moving it, and I knew my sister wasn't moving it because she looked kind of afraid, and she was my older sister. So you know how like when your older sibling like looks afraid, it kind of freaks you out. So we've talked about this since. It was like something was communicating with us, and my mom did tell us. She said, "You girls, you don't know if it was really that little girl talking to you." It's kind of like on the internet today when some, 60-year-old dude gets on a kid's game and says he's a 13-year-old girl. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of, I kind of think of it like that.
I had that happen, as grotesque as it is, not trying to change the subject. I was playing a video game with my son, and I watched two people try to propose sexual activity to my 7-year-old son. And I actually, thank goodness he was so naive, he didn't realize it. But I literally went up and down on him and screenshotted everything, sent it to the game's creators and everything like that. And it's like, get these guys out of here, right?
Yeah. I mean, you have to be so guarded with that kind of thing. So obviously that's a greater threat than, tapping into a potentially demonic entity, because that's something that, so many kids are vulnerable to. And so, but, yeah, I mean, you can definitely make contact with, it's a gamble, right? Mm-hmm. Any kind of experiment like that is always a gamble.
Very true. Very true. Corey's saying, "Why do all you people want to use these Ouija boards? You know what happens? Don't do it. You're just tempting fate." Or so the spirit said. It was an actual little girl. Yeah, Corey, he's my bodyguard. It's not really Corey who's the bodyguard, it's his mustache.
Oh, well, the thing is, people, it's one of the few kind of like tools. Like if I said we were using a crystal ball, like people would just be like, yeah, whatever, crystal ball, that seems harmless. Or maybe tarot cards, most people are pretty comfortable with tarot cards in general, some of the like basic fortune telling. But if I mention a Ouija board, people do like, some people have a very, very strong reaction to it. And other people are kind of like, eh. And then you get people like, like Karen Dahlman, who actually uses it as a tool, as a psychic tool, which I think is a wonderful use of it. So the whole haunted object thing does come up, but, are there haunted objects, or they're just, are there bad objects, or they're just bad people using those objects?
I don't know.
It's like a chicken egg kind of thing of the paranormal.
I really don't know. We have 3.5 minutes left with you in a show that's gone by way too quick. Once again. But when it comes to the whole monster aspect of the paranormal and everything, are we really doing a lot to improve ourselves in the knowledge of this entire phenomena?
I think whether you completely subscribe to, the chupacabra, or you think mermaids are a myth or not, if you're interested in it, you're exploring that topic, I think it really can be very good for us to have. There's a reason that myth and storytelling is so vital to so many cultures. You need these stories, the exploration of them, the mental debate of whether they're real or not, the suspension of doubt and disbelief. I believe that if nothing else, these stories serve us to suspend our doubt long enough to hear a story. And when you suspend doubt, you activate something in your brain. It allows you to think creatively. It allows you to think that things are possible that you can't see in front of you. That allows you to reach goals. That allows you to invent friggin' vaccines, right? Because you're thinking outside the box. So I think that's why, in general, as a culture, we need to really tap into these stories and these legends and explore them.
Of course. And we can never, ever say that the experiences aren't happening, because there's everyday people who are having these experiences who've never, ever believed in this stuff, and then it happens to them.
Right. And, you also, there's something about the not being able to prove it, but also never being able to disprove it. It's like, the most ultimate, longest mystery novel of all time, right? It's like that we're unraveling and finding threads and finding things that are unrelated and talking to other people about their experiences. And always there's something new. There's always something new to uncover or learn about or debunk or explore or prove. So it's endless entertainment, really.
Absolutely, my friend. Tell everybody in 30 seconds where they can find your books.
You can find my books wherever books are sold. Independent bookstores, as you mentioned, big stores, little stores, online stores. They should all have my books. They are all in print. And you can find out more about me at varlaventura.net. I have a little shop there. You can get a Varla Ventura hat and Among the Mermaids journals and things like that for your shopping needs. And and then you can, find me in other places if you search up Varla Ventura.
I love you. Thank you.
Except
so
my
much.
home address. Yeah. Thank you.
I don't even
Dave.
have her phone number. She doesn't even allow me to have her phone number. Contact me on Skype, she says. That's all you get, Dave. That's all you get. VarlaVentura.net is her website. Coming up next on the SOR Newswire, or on Spaced Out Radio, we have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Dave. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues after this. Varla Ventura, everybody. Varla Ventura.
Thanks for having me back again so soon.
Oh, yes. I know. Hard to believe we won't talk to you until next year. That hurts me.
Amazing.
That hurts me.
Oh, well, I'll message you.
I feel like we should break into song before you go. I don't know why, but
What was that song you sang in the beginning that I don't know? The Buttercup.
No, that's for Zoe Buttercup.
Oh.
My Zoe Buttercup has a cutest smile. Cute little Zoe Buttercup. Won't you stay a while?
A while.
Exactly.
Just guessed. Well, thank you.
Well, you know, I'm a dreamer, and my heart's of gold. I had to run away and hide so I wouldn't come home now. Just when things went right, doesn't seem they're always wrong. Just take this song, and you'll never be left all alone. Varla, take me to your heart. Fill me in your bones. Just one more night. Then I'm coming off this long and windy road. I'm on my way. I'm on my way. Home sweet home.
I'm on my way. Home sweet home.
Hell yeah. Good job.
Well, thank you. On that note, thank you, Dave, for
Much
all
love.
your support this year.
Absolutely.
And it's been great connecting with you so many times.
I love you. You were one of my favorites, and I
love you too.
I don't have
Share
a lot of
some writing
friends in
with
this
me.
field, but I think of you as a good friend and supporter of what we do.
Yeah, see you in Vegas in a few months.
Damn right, we're going to Vegas. Oh yeah, it's Varla Ventura time in Vegas, people. I will let everybody on our Facebook and YouTube know that the double
When
V,
that happens,
double V
it will
is going to V.
It would be triple announced.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Love you, my friend. Take care.
Okay, you too.
Good night.
Bye. Good night.
Varla Ventura, everybody. Varla Ventura. Can't believe nobody in the chat room started singing Home Sweet Home. The Sam hell is this? Lady pulling a shark back in the water that beached itself. Bet you it bites her. Bet you it bites her. No. She rescued it. Okay, Marty, I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one. Nice clown for Varla as well. Hey, Terrible Times. Thank you. I appreciate that. Denali, we were on Motley Crue's Home Sweet Home, not Bumblefoot. But it's a good call. Night Fast Hemi. Hey, Super Quest. How you doing, brother? I know I already said hi to you again, but I just saw your picture up there. So I figured I would do that. Babster, you have a voice of an angel. You have the lips of an angel. Hold on. This is what I sing to Fap all the time. Hold on, where is it here? Hey, Fap, it's really good to hear your voice saying my name. It sounds so sweet. Coming from the lips of the Fapster, hearing those words, it makes me weak. And I never want to say goodbye. But Fap, you make it hard to be faithful with the lips of an angel. There you go. That's for you, Fapster. Oh, that's good. That's good. Good night, beautiful Teresa. We love you. All right. Final commercial. We got 15 seconds. Ten seconds. 5 seconds. 3 seconds. 2, 1. Thunderclap. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Dave Scott. I appreciate earning all of your listening ears. I want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Speaking of the news, let's do this thing, shall we? The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the hilarious. Oh, if you haven't heard this. You know we're big fans of Kenneth Copeland around here. COVID-19! I blow the winds of God. Anyways, Russian hacker group known as Revil has named televangelist Kenneth Copeland as its latest victim, threatening to release 1.2 terabytes of sensitive data if he declines to pay their unspecified ransom demands. Revil, on Wednesday, issued a statement saying that it had taken over the servers of Kenneth Copeland Ministries, the Texas-based international church of the prominent 83-year-old pastor. Absolutely all servers and working computers of the company are hacked and encrypted, the group says in a statement on the dark web, which was reviewed by media sources. Revil released the images of a file library purporting to show the stolen data and claiming the information included financial documents, contracts, bank documents, sales history, and emails. Oh, Kenneth, what are you into? Copeland, who founded the ministry in 1967 and sat on President Donald Trump's Faith Advisory Board, has a reported net worth between $300 million and $760 million. Yeah, keep on tithing, people. Revil did not specify their financial demand in a public statement, which was removed on Thursday, possibly indicating negotiations had been entered with the victim. Kenneth Copeland Ministries did not immediately respond to an inquiry. Revil's signature tactic, encrypting a company's servers and then threatening to release or auction off their data, is an increasingly common scam among ransomware groups. Ransomware groups are indiscriminate in their choice of victims. They'll attack anybody they believe can afford to pay, whether it's a private company, the government, hospitals, charities, or religious organizations, says Brett Callow, a threat analyst at cybersecurity firm Emsisoft. Ransomware is becoming even more of a problem, Callow added. The demands are increasing, the sophistication of attacks is increasing, and the tactics of the groups deploy are becoming more and more extreme. Now, Copeland made headlines last week when he appeared in a bizarre video where he forced a fake laugh for almost a minute as he mocked the media for calling the 2020 presidential election in favor of Joe Biden. The media said, "What? Ha 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 ha," in his evil laugh, Copeland asked, before he continued to fake laugh maniacally. Yeah. Oh, I love him. This guy's entertaining. Copeland has also drawn criticisms for his statements about the coronavirus pandemic, COVID-19, anyways, which he repeatedly claimed had passed and would soon end. In March, the pastor executed judgment on the virus and declared it to be finished while demanding a vaccination to come immediately. The hacker group Revil previously targeted celebrity law firm Grubman Shire, Millisas and Sachs, which refused to pay the millions in ransom that they demanded. The damaging details against Trump that Revil had promised for the law firm hack never materialized. In a recent interview with Russian-language tech blog, a purported representative of Revil said that the group's most successful method of attack was through remote desktop protocol, which allows for remote administration of a desktop over the internet. Security experts recommend disabling RDP on company computers and say that the best protection against hackers is quickly and frequently updating software with the latest updates. Gallo, the cybersecurity expert, estimated that almost $1.7 billion is paid annually in hacker ransoms, saying the total cost of attacks, including downtime, approaches $10 billion. The only way to deal with the problem is to prohibit the payment of ransoms. He said if the flow of cash stops, the attacks will stop too. It's that simple. COVID-19, I blow the winds of God. Anyways, I just think that's funny. I do. I don't know why. But if anybody deserves that, it's Kenneth Copeland. Let's just be honest. Okay? Let's just be honest. Because that guy has no problem stealing from the poor and not doing a damn thing to help. You know, definitely not God's word, man. Definitely not God's word. I know. Anyways, have you heard about the latest thing with Arecibo? This is terrible. They have officially shut this down. Officially. It's on the brink of collapse, and they're going to dismantle the 57-year-old observatory. You know, this thing has survived hurricanes, earthquakes, but is now in such a fragile state that attempting repairs would put staff and workers in danger. Yeah, this is too bad. The decision was not an easy one to make, said Sean Jones, NSF's Assistant Director for Mathematical and Physical Sciences. We understand how much Arecibo means to the research community and to Puerto Rico. Ralph Gomes, where did I get Robert out of Ralph? Anyways, the director of the astronomy division said at the briefing that the agency wants to preserve other instruments at the site, as well as the visitor and outreach center, but they are under threat if the telescope structure collapses. That would bring the 900-ton instrument platform, suspended 137 meters above and 300 meters wide, crashing right down. Flailing cables could damage other buildings on the site, as could 3 support towers if they fell too. There is a serious risk of an unexpected and uncontrollable collapse, Gomes said. A controllable decommissioning gives us the opportunity to preserve valuable assets that the observatory has. Over the next few weeks, engineering firms will develop a plan for a controlled dismantling. It may involve releasing the platform from its cables explosively and letting it fall. The Arecibo telescope has been widely used by astrophysicists as well as atmospheric and planetary scientists since the early 1960s. For many years, it was the main instrument involved in listening for messages from extraterrestrial civilizations, and its striking looks wanted a supporting role in feature films. That's really too bad. It really is. Here in British Columbia, the provincial government has now introduced sweeping new measures aimed at curbing the spread of COVID-19, including a new mandatory mask policy and a temporary social lockdown that applies to the entire province. In an urgent and pleading news conference, Provincial Healthcare Officer Dr. Bonnie Henry also announced that church worship services are being suspended, certain fitness facilities are closed, and parents across BC are no longer allowed to watch their children play sports. Yes, I am locked out of the hockey rink to watch my kid play hockey because hockey rinks are small. Please notice the eye roll. Anyways, we are in a second surge and it has proven to be a challenge, Henry said. I know we will get through this, but we need to take more action now. And I kind of agree with that, to be honest. The restrictions, which are among the strictest enacted in the province so far, comes as BC watches coronavirus case numbers skyrocket, breaking local records and putting strain on the healthcare system. The mask mandate will apply to indoor public spaces and retail environments where customers and employees alike will be required to cover their faces. Henry noted that there will be an exemption for children under the age of 2 and anyone who is unable to wear a mask. We now know that there are people with certain conditions and disabilities that in some ways would make mask wearing challenging, she said, and we need to be aware that some people's disabilities or inability to wear a mask may not be readily apparent. Several jurisdictions across Canada have already introduced mandatory mask policies for public spaces, including the City of Toronto, but BC health officials have been hesitant to follow suit. Henry said the sudden reversal was due to the increasing public pressure, including from businesses, some of which have expressed concerns about putting the onus of enforcing piecemeal policy onto workers. Guess we're wearing masks now. Just as the coronavirus pandemic began to take hold in February, 4 people set sail in one of the most remote places on Earth, a small camp on Curry Atoll at the edge of the uninhabited northwestern Hawaiian Islands. They are more than 1,400 miles from Honolulu. They lived in isolation for 8 months while working to restore the island's environment. Cut off from the rest of the planet, their world was limited to a tiny patch of sand halfway between the U.S. mainland and Asia. With no television or internet access, their only information came from satellite, text messages, and the occasional email. Now they're back, re-emerging into a changed society that might feel as foreign as today as an island isolation did in March. They must adjust to wearing face masks, staying indoors, and seeing friends without giving hugs or hearty handshakes. I've never seen anything like this, but I started reading the book, The Stand by Stephen King, which is about a disease outbreak, and I was thinking, oh my goodness, is that what it's going to be like when we go home, said Charlie Thomas, one of the 4 island workers. All these precautions, these things, people sick everywhere. It was very strange to think about. The group was part of an effort by the state of Hawaii to maintain the fragile island ecosystem on Kure, which is part of a national monument, the nation's largest contiguous protected environment. The public is not allowed to land anywhere in the northwestern Hawaiian Islands. Kure is the only island in the northern part of the archipelago that is managed by the state, with the rest under the jurisdiction of the federal government. A former Coast Guard station at the atoll is home to seabirds, endangered Hawaiian monk seals, and coral reefs that are teeming with sea turtles, tiger sharks, and other marine life. Well, there's a reason not to go right there, the tiger sharks. Yeah, 2 field teams go there each year, one for summer and one for winter. Their primary job is removing invasive plants and replacing them with native species, cleaning up debris such as fishing nets and plastic that washes ashore. Before they leave, team members are often asked if they want to receive bad news while away, said Cynthia Vanderlip, the supervisor for the team. A few times a day, we upload and download emails so people can stay in touch with their family and friends. That's a huge morale booster, and I don't take it lightly, Vanderlip said. People who are in remote places rely on your communication. Police say they have arrested 2 people for allegedly flying drugs into jail using a drone. Provincial police in Ontario say they were contacted on October 26 after a drone dropped off a package in the Kinte Region Detention Center. Correctional staff seized a quantity of illicit drugs, but police say the inmates did get some items. Oh, isn't that nice? The OPP said they arrested 2 people from Kingston in the city last Friday. They also said they seized drugs, a drone, cash, ammunition, scales, and other paraphernalia at the time of the arrest. Both are accused of facing drugs and weapons charges and will appear in court in 2021. Here's a scary incident. Nuclear materials must be transported safely, and that has to include road vehicles for at least the very end of those long trips. That's why engineers recently tested a new model of the Mobile Guardian Transporter, the U.S. government's secure overland option, and so far they're pleased with the results. The crash test is simple and dramatic. A prototype of the new Mobile Guardian transport truck is positioned like a silent movie heroine on the railroad tracks. Then a regular tractor trailer is literally rocketed towards it at highway speeds, causing a collision that represents one of the worst case scenarios. Armored components and other militaristic technologies have their own testing infrastructure, leaving just the regular civilians driving recklessly or in adverse conditions as X factors. The crash action took place, and guess what? It worked. It worked nice. No nuclear bomb explosion, no chemicals spilling everywhere. Good job, guys. Good job for keeping the environment safe. When the notorious bootlegger and gangster Dutch Schultz was gunned down in 1935, rumors flew about his fortune that he was supposedly left behind. Legend has it that Schultz had a hidden, valuable net worth of more than $50 million, possibly as much as $150 million, including gold coins, $1,000 bills, diamonds, and uncashed World War II Liberty bonds. World War I Liberty bonds, that is, all stuffed into a strong box and buried somewhere in the wilds of upstate New York. But the existence of the treasure was never proven, and its location, if it ever existed, is still a long mystery. Almost a century later, Schultz's mythical cache of riches is yet to be discovered, but determined treasure seekers are certain that it's out there somewhere watching me, and they're still looking. So, of course, new television show on PBS, Secrets of the Dead, Gangster's Gold, which premiered on November 18th. 3 teams set to solve the 85-year-old puzzle, tracking down long hidden tunnels and hideouts and hoping that satellite maps and ground-penetrating radar will give them the boot. Maybe they'll find the goblins in Hellier. Who knows? Born Arthur Flengenheimer to German Jewish parents in 1902, Schultz began a career of lawbreaking. When he was still a boy in the Bronx, he eventually earned a reputation as exceptionally vicious criminal mastermind, using extreme violence to enforce illicit operations such as bootlegging, extortion, and illegal lotteries that extended throughout New York and New Jersey. Let's move on to one more here before we got to go to the thought of the day. Officers and officials in an Ontario library say a book recently dropped into its return bin, believed to be 100 years overdue. The Fergus Library said a copy of Martin Chuzzlewit by Charles Dickens was recently dropped into the book return bin by an anonymous person. Library officials say they don't have records of the book, but it bears a Fergus Library nameplate inside the cover, indicating it might have been from the facility's original collection when it opened in the 1900s. Officials say they aren't sure of when the book was last checked out. We're guessing from maybe 100 to maybe 50 years ago, Chief Librarian Rebecca Hines says. Hines said there are other clues to be found in the book. Right on the nameplate of the book, it says 2 cents a day. Hines said, I did a little bit of research, and it looks probably around 1940. That was the going rate. Hines said if the book was checked out in 1941, it would have accrued late fees of about $580 at the rate of 2 cents a day. Look at that. Get your library books back. You don't want to be charged 2 cents a day. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air, because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. What Sea or Lake cryptids do you think exist, and why? Marty, great clown. Nessie of Loch Ness fame, because not only do I believe it's real, I think it's a known species that has grown to giant size like an eel or sturgeon. Greg, the megalodon. During a whale watching trip in the late 1990s, we all saw a giant creature swim under the boat, and the captain said it was not a whale. I'm with you, Dave. Stay out of the ocean. Amen, Greg. Amen. Staying right out. Staying right out. Wayne, Champion, Illinois, and of course Nessie and Loch Ness. Why? Because if Bigfoot is said to exist, and there's speculative proof, why not these two? Joe and Joe's Maine, England, the Lady of the Lake, because strange women lying in ponds, disturbing swords, or distributing swords is no basis for a system of government. Oh, okay. Kimberly, to be honest, after growing up spending the summers in the Okanagan, never saw Ogopogo, never saw Bigfoot or Sasquatch in all my summers in the interior of BC, so I have to be open-minded and believe others have seen them, but they didn't have actual proof, just their words, so who's to say really? Caden, Champ and Nessie, but I think they're more of the Mosasaurus breed than cryptid. Kevin, Mokele Mbembe. That's probably my favorite name of a cryptid. Mokele Mbembe. Just the thought of a living dinosaur existing and more believable than Nessie listening to witnesses along the Congo I've seen on TV. Davey, me and Melinda Leslie share this one. It's the Loch Ness Monster. Alex, it's the Patagonian plesiosaur because of the quality of witnesses and sightings, especially sightings of the animals sunning on the rocks by the river. Plus, makes sense from the environment standpoint. Ken, my new book will reveal all, coming soon. Well, you better get on this show, Ken Gerhard. That's for sure. Barry believes in Ogopogo. Why wouldn't he? He lives close. The Crypto Guru. You can always read my book, Aquatic Monsters. You know what, Ron? How about you come on the show and talk about it? There you go, Guru. Great answer. Thanks, Dave. I appreciate that. Krista, who was just a guest last week. All of them, because at some point someone experienced their existence. Just because we can't see something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. We see what we want to see. We create our reality with our points of views. That's how potent and powerful we could truly be. Boom! Mic drop. Well, what do I think? Well, I think that the sea monsters are real. I think Megalodon is real, and that's why I won't go into the ocean. Totally why I will not go into the ocean. There's just no point. No point at all, because there's only one thing that happens when you go in the ocean. It's trouble. It is trouble. You get tired, you could drown. If you're out surfing, you could get attacked by dolphins, killer whales, sharks. You know, you go kayaking. We just saw it a couple weeks ago. Lady is kayaking, and her kayak gets eaten by a humpback whale who's feeding on little fish. This is the reality of the ocean. You don't want to be swallowed by a whale. You don't want to be eaten by a shark, and you damn well don't want to, drown, because next thing you know, your running shoe is swimming up on shore, and somebody's picking it up, and now you're part of a mystery case in Vancouver. Thank you to everybody participating in the Thought of the Day. We'll do it again tomorrow on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you to Captain Shirk for the news, and to Varla Ventura for the cryptid tales. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everybody in our chat rooms tonight on Spreaker, YouTube, LGAB, Revolution Radio. Where else? Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, and our website. And Michelle and all the Snarkers at hashtag Spaced Out Radio on Twitter. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, say it with me, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night. But tomorrow, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we got room for them too. Good night. Almost hit the wrong button. Okay. Varla Ventura. Down. Hey guys, I'll be right back. Bear with me. Oh yeah, wrong camera. I'll be right back. Hello, everybody. I'm Dave. Space Out Radio. Dave. Space Out. Be with y'all in a moment. Varla. Almost with you here. Give me 2 seconds. Hi, Stunt Brat. How are you? Where are you guys? There you are. Now I can read you. Scroll up. Hi, Wendy Williams. The lovely and talented Wendy Williams is here. We can all clap now. All right, where is the... And hold on. Check this. Right on Spaced Out Radio. All... Yes. Yes. Fun. Boo boo there. How cold is it there, Dave? We do have some snow. Right now it's about -4 Celsius. So it's about 30 degrees Fahrenheit, 29 degrees, somewhere in there. It's actually quite nice. Quite nice. I like it around this temperature. To think we only have 3 months before we go to like -40. Yay, that's something to look forward to. -40 is always nice. Especially on a cold, clear night. Then the wind picks up and freezes your tushy off. Fylth knows what I'm talking about. Dirty Fylth up there in Edmonton. Snacking on the Nanaimo bars. Secretly. -40 Celsius equates to -40 Fahrenheit. Weird. All right. This. It is nice. You easily adapt. If you can make it through your first 2 winters, you don't worry about it anymore. If you're a transplant like I am. I'm a transplant. I'm from the lower mainland where things are always like rain and rain, rain, and people who don't know how to drive in snow. There's nothing worse than lower mainland drivers in the winter and Alberta drivers in the summer. Absolutely, Stunt Brat. I don't blame you. If you still have Heather Thomas's phone number, tell her to call me, please. I'm still in love. For all this time, I'm still in love. Oh, it's true. Still love her. All right, children, almost time to get your verification codes ready. We're a couple minutes away. Dead air, Ron. Dead air. It's not even fair, Stunt Brat. Not even fair. Hold on 1 second. Make sure you get those verification codes up, because it is time. Just a couple of seconds. Start. There. Up. Upload. Transfer. Your verification code for tonight is as follows: 179448. 179448 is your verification code. Verify wisely, space travelers, because you don't want to go through life unverified. Look at you two cheaters. Look at you two cheaters. I love you both, but you're both just cheaters. Cheaters. Shame. All right, Fapster, just for you, buddy. You feel better now, Fapster? You two are bad. Bad. Oh, here, let's. Did I screw up on the verification code? Hold on a second here. 488, not 448. Son of a gun. There we go. Now we're verifying. Yeah, how come you psychic people didn't get that? Good night, Wendy Williams. Still verify together then? I'm chilling and relaxed right now. Hey, Nick, Madrid, Spain. That's awesome, man. I do have to check my mail. I'll go tomorrow. Excuse me. Yeah, Princess Denali and Sandra. I'm looking at you two specifically right now. No, roundtables next week. Tomorrow night is Zion Zeta. We're talking ET contact. Gonna be some seriously good woo tomorrow, man. Seriously good woo. And yes, I am tired. I literally did not get half the shit I was wanting to get done today. I got a couple minutes before I gotta go to bed. Excuse me. I got just a few more minutes here. The shows are still transferring, downloading radio stations. You got to put up with me a couple minutes. My favorite kind of music? Metal, rock and roll, hard rock. I like to have a burger. Nice, juicy bacon, mushroom cheeseburger. Fresh lettuce and tomatoes. Mayonnaise. Onions. Garlic aioli. Might do that for lunch tomorrow. I can't rank DNR right now. Love to. Greatest band ever. Okay, that's one done. Two done. All right, everybody. I am calling it the night because old Davey is a little tired. So I want to say thank you to all of you for tuning us on in. Big thank you to Major Lee for 4 different super chats tonight. Thank you to Ladybug Bigelow for a couple of super chats. And thank you to Zoe Buttercup and Shane Spielman as well. Love all the support. Love our new subscribers that have come on in recently. Thank you to everybody for that and the thumbs up and ringing the bell. Thank you. Greatest band ever, Guns N' Roses. There is no other band. There is no other music. It's over. Over. Paradise City, greatest song ever written. There is no other song out there at all. Anyways, much love to all of you. I appreciate you guys taking the time and sharing it with me. That means the most out of everything because time is finite, and the fact that you would choose it to spend it with me, that means a lot. So thank you, and we will talk to you tomorrow night.